Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines and rev your butts, because it's the Nerdcubed Podcats! Woo!
I am unenthused today.
Matt's having a fun time. In the left corner, the blue corner, we have John, many a true nerd.
Woo!
And in the other corner, the red corner, we have Matt, Mattophobia Mattison.
Life is meaningless.
I think in this fight, you know who to bet on now. You know who to bet on in this fight.
Yeah, Matt, he's got nothing to lose.
That's true. That man
everything
in the corner,
is pain.
you trap this man in an alley, he will just fucking shank you.
Matt, would you like to publicly bitch about what's happened in your life?
I'll I can't say the word.
Marvelous.
I can't say.
Matt would like to prefix what he's about to say with the following.
I thought it was preface.
Basically, I was trying to get an apartment, and I got the apartment, and I paid for the apartment, and when I got into the apartment, it turns out there's building work next door and outside the windows of said apartment for a good 4 months.
Nice.
So, didn't tell me that, and it's almost like this is part of my job doing the talky recordy thing,
So you were boasting about your gigabit internet.
Did it have gigabit internet?
Well, it won't be at night, in fairness. They do have gigabit internet there, yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted it.
That's cool, that's really cool.
I might be still moving in anyway, because they won't give me my money back so much. So...
Oh.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's get on with it, shall we?
Yes, let's get on with it, and let's start with the news of the day. Should we do fresh, spanking news?
You know why Dan wants to do fresh banking news? Because he's only reading today's news, because he only started reading the news 5 minutes ago.
Okay, I will point out, until literally 10 minutes ago, this computer would not turn on. Like, it would turn on, it would automatically try and install a new driver, and blue screen, because that driver was killing it, and I didn't have enough time to fix it. It was really annoying, because you can't actually turn that off in safe mode. So I've spent a good 2 hours trying to make this computer fucking work. Thanks, Windows! I ended up just, like, overriding it with a fake, not real driver that seems to do nothing, and it's like, oh, that's fine. So a bit of my computer that I don't know doesn't work, but I think we'll get to that at some point.
Computers are great.
Computers are so good. So good.
Great luck with them.
But yeah, the breaking news... I bought a Dalek. But the other breaking news is that Nintendo NX has a release date. Woo! We don't know what it is or how much it's going to be, but we know when it's going to be here. That's like the worst Amazon shop in the world, because normally it's the other way around. You're like, I've paid for a thing, I know what it is, and it won't turn up. But this is the inverse of that. It's coming out March next year, which is really not that far away.
I mean, we can reasonably assume, following like the way Nintendo's been going like the past few generations, it's probably going to be towards the cheaper, less powerful end of the spectrum.
Yes.
They're probably not going to suddenly jump ship and say, actually, we've created something vastly more powerful than the PS4K and the theoretical PS5, and it's going to be better than the PS6. We're just several generations ahead at this point.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No.
Actually, what I was thinking for, maybe the PS4K and Xbox 1.5, whatever the fuck they call it, maybe their moves because Nintendo was going to be like, oh yeah, well our console's now more powerful than the PS4 and Xbox One because they could do that for a reasonable price. But maybe these move is so they go, actually no it isn't. We have this new one out that's more powerful. So maybe it's like an anti-Nintendo device. Maybe they're trying to just like finish Nintendo off. Because Nintendo at this moment are absolutely floundering. The Wii U was a flop. We can now admit that. I mean, now everyone can agree with me. Because I've tried for years to inform you all that Nintendo was a flop. The Wii U was a flop.
I like the Wii U.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it was a flop.
It was a flop. You know, I have an interesting thought about the NX, and will it be back? Because, you know, every Nintendo console for the past, 3, 4 has been backwards compatible with its previous, completely backwards compatible.
Yep.
And I'm wondering, how the fuck would they make the NX backwards compatible with the Wii unless they provided a Wii, touchscreen controller with it? And I don't think they'll do that, really. I have a doubt they'll do that. So how would they make it backwards compatible if not to do that?
They have to do something because Zelda Wii U is their launch title for it.
Yeah, so they're going to do what they did with the fucking Twilight Princess and launch it on
You mean flip it and make it an entire mirror image of the GameCube version?
Come on, let's not put that bug the fuck out
The
of me.
reason they did that was because you used the swishy controller in your right hand, and Link is left-handed inherently in all of the Zelda games.
So rather than reanimate Link to be the other way round, they thought the quicker way to do that was to flip the entire universe. Because that was faster than coming up with new animations for Link's arm. Seriously.
I mean, it is an ingeniously clever, easy way to do it, really, isn't it? I never noticed when playing it on the Wii that it was flipped, and I only noticed when I got the Wii U version. I went, what the fuck?
Wait, why wouldn't they just flip the character model?
Well, that's a great question.
Because it's easier to flip the whole universe, okay?
That's like Professor Farnsworthy's ship. It's like, yes, this moves the entire universe around the ship. That seems like the wrong way around for that.
I assume if they had to flip the character model, they would have had to redo all the animations of him interacting with anything.
Well, you can still interact. Most of the time when you interact with something, it's mostly symmetrical. You can always just flip the things as well.
Well, yeah, but then in the cutscenes, he's going to be backwards as well, isn't he? He's going to be mirrored unless you redo all the cutscenes.
But
I want to do it the other way around this time, which is rather than just flip it all horizontally, I want them to flip it vertically. So the Wii U version you have to play upside down, and the NX version you can play the right way up. But you're on the ceiling in the Wii U version.
It's the only way to sell that game is to make sure that the only way to sell the NX is to make sure it's physically unplayable on the Wii U.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Then again, does the Wii U, now we now know where its life cycle is going to end, does it actually have anything worth playing on it yet?
Nope, Star Fox is already out.
Oh my god, that was destroyed in the press.
I know, but I mean, in terms of, things that anyone might write about whether or not they're good.
Yeah.
And there's not really anything left, is there?
I mean, okay, the two games I really like are going to be Splatoon. I think Splatoon is so good that that's like a system seller to me. Mm-hmm. And then there's Bayonetta 2, which is a very popular thing. Xenoblade Chronicles X, a lot of people like Xenoblade Chronicles X. Mario Kart 8 is probably the best Mario Kart that's existed, but it's still a Mario Kart game.
Just a Mario Kart.
It's just a Mario Kart game.
Mario Kart Super Circuit on the Game Boy Advance. Easily better.
Mario Kart the DS Fat was the most amazing thing.
Mario Kart
Maker
Super Circuit on the
things.
GBA has the best Rainbow Road. That had the best Rainbow Road ever created.
In that it didn't have one.
Them fighting words. Mm-hmm. No, but I think I forgot.
So a lot of people are saying it's got Smash. Smash is on the 3DS.
Smash is very good. Smash is good, but it's whatever. I don't really care. It's a very local multiplayer game, and funnily enough, I never have people around, so it's shit.
I've never played Smash with people. The new one. I've played a lot of it by myself.
But Super Smash 64 was my favourite. And since then, I think the series has just gone progressively more and more downhill. I just really love 64. I think it was simple, and it worked beautifully, and it was really nicely balanced. And since then, it's just got more faster, and I don't know, I just don't like it. I don't like it anymore. I didn't like the air dodging. I don't like the new techniques to it. I think it was much better when it was simpler in 64.
But they added Snake. They have Snake.
They did. They also added They also added about 727 other new characters. And the more characters you add to a big, complex game where you jump around and have many moves, the more unbalanced it gets because it's impossible to balance anymore.
Trainer.
I've never played Smash Bros. Thinking, hey, this is going to be a balanced fight. That's why I play it single player. It's like a ludicrous stabbing people in the air with Toon Link game for me.
That's the point. Toon Link, Wind Waker HD is really good. It's a whole new game compared to actually the original Wind Waker, just because of how much better. Unlike Twilight Princess, that doesn't look. It looks a lot better, Twilight Princess, but you're still playing it and going, Wind Waker HD looks really, really good.
The original Wind Waker still looked fine.
Die.
Please don't die. We've still got another few hours left.
Oh, this day is so horrible. God.
Oh god. No, I don't think I think the Wii U is like an entirely skippable console. It never really got like a big name behind it, really, because the biggest thing it had going for it that I ever got a lot of press and things was Smash Bros. And Smash Bros. Was just on the 3DS as well.
Mario Maker got a lot of... Mario Maker got a lot of press. Mario Maker's a weird thing, though, because it's just a 2D platform maker, and a lot of them exist, and it just because it has the Mario name on it makes it better than them.
It kind of, from what I can see, it was like a much less interactive Little Big Planet with less charm, because it's Mario, and he's completely vapid and charmless.
there's a lot of things you can do with it, but at the same time, it's like they're going, well, there's a lot of other things that do this that are more interesting and better that I'd rather play.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, honestly, right, you can get it for about £240 now with games. Like you can get the Mario Kart 8 and the Splatoon pack with the Wii U Premium for like £240, and for that price, for two really good games, a decent. I know it's not got a lot of good things on, but you know, compared to the other big consoles, I mean, it probably has about the same amount of decent exclusives than them at this point.
I don't know. I'd much rather buy just a PSP.
Well, yeah, but
an original DS
for a home console, and then it has the tablet thing, which I mean is useful as just like a little home tablet if you want to like watch YouTube.
They never did anything with that.
They didn't, no. But you know what? For £240, it's a decent little thing.
It never appealed to me. I mean, I do technically own one, but Emma's still got it.
Yeah, well, it's not. I wouldn't call it an interesting console, but I'd say it's a decent console.
We don't want decent. Decent doesn't do anything. Nintendo used to be like, we're innovators. Like, the Wii wasn't for anybody at all. But the Wii was for grandmas and families, and then they went, oh, we're going to make this next one for grandmas and families and give it a confusing title and not separate it off enough.
Well, this is another point with the Wii U in that it has a full Wii emulator in, so you can play every Wii game.
Yes.
As well.
But it also means that it's got about 16 different controllers that you can use for it.
Oh, God. I have the Wii U Pro controller, I have the
confusing.
Wii U normal controller, I have the Wii controller. I fucking... Like, one of the packs comes with them, plus, like, a Wii U Fit pad, and, like, a Mario controller, and, like, a fucking steering wheel thing, and...
But to the future, the NX, and how worried we should potentially be that they're basically refusing to show the damn thing off until launch day, which to me is kind of like a film that doesn't give press screenings. It's generally a worrying sign.
It's probably not.
They'll probably just do one of their directs that is just completely hypeless. Well, I find anyway. I mean, I don't really care for like Xbox very much, but I really like E3 and I really like watching Microsoft's conference because sometimes you get good stuff out of it. But like, I don't know. I feel it's Nintendo Directs are very boring and hypeless, and I tend to not really care about them because they tend to have about 56 million of the fucking things. But they're not at E3. They're not showing the NX off at E3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is very odd.
So probably before, like, sort of around March 2017, we will have 3 new consoles in the field. We'll have the 2 upgrades to the current ones for PlayStation and Microsoft, and Nintendo will be bringing out a whole brand new console.
Microsoft have said they're not doing one of those.
Yeah, I bet they will. They can say that as much as they want for now, but I totally think they're going to.
They probably will, but we should assume they're not.
They also say that there's lots of good stuff coming out for the Kinect. That was something they were trying to press this week as well. Oh, the Kinect's still got lots coming out.
I thought they gave up on the Kinect.
What? Wait, really?
When did that happen?
They were recently saying like, oh yeah, we're gonna push the Kinect a lot more, and we're like, okay, well they're clearly lying about
who
everything.
owns the Kinect? Like the few people who bought the Xbox One at launch.
Yeah, they've even stopped shipping the bastards with the console. No one's got one anymore.
Well, this is the issue. You know why? One of the reasons I think the Vive is better than the Oculus, right? Is because it ships with the touch controllers. It ships with the tracking controllers. The Oculus does not. And as a result, every game, if you make a game for the Vive, you know they're going to have those controllers.
Yep.
And every game can give support for them. It's like Kinect. The Xbox One Kinect was pointless because nobody had it, and they tried to push it by bundling it with it, and then they gave up. Which just killed it completely.
It's also not very good at anything. That's my
you look at the Wii touch controller, you look at the Wii controllers, and you look at the Kinect, you look at the PS Move, and now we have like the Vive, and it's that you're looking at it going, well, why? I have this now. Go away.
Yeah, I mean, because I've said recently that the Kinect is a peripheral for a games console. The Vive is the next thing. We went stone tablets like books, movie like TV, movies, or movies, TV actually. Then games. Radio was somewhere in there. Games, and now VR. I consider it an entirely separate thing, whereas the Kinect was just bundled in with games. It's just more game things.
Seems kind of shit, isn't it?
I like VR. We'll talk about that later. I want to wring Nintendo's neck a little bit further because
VR.
At E3 they're only showing one game, but they've only got one playable game at E3, and that's Zelda Wii U. It's the new Zelda, which is going to be a launch title for the NX. Which is their brand. They've worked on this for absolutely ages and stuff. It's going to be the seller. It's going to be like, oh, the best thing ever. But they're not showing the NX version at E3. They're just showing the Wii U version, which means they're going to show off a worse version. So why the fuck would you do that?
It seems it very much. Well, they said it was going to be made for Wii U, and it seems to be that's what it was initially started to be developed on, and they're porting it to the NX.
Actually, today they've said that it was co-developed. It was built for both at the same time, which does now mean that they've known that the X was a thing 3 years ago. I like this game because you have to just pick out where the company starts lying to you. I also, apparently, from what I've heard, this is my favourite thing ever, that it's going to still be called Zelda Wii U even when it's on the NX.
Wait, really?
No.
That is what... apparently, the Zelda Wii U is sort of like the title that they're going for because it got very popular.
The game was called Zelda Wii U.
That's not the Zelda naming protocol.
I thought it was just that was just a code name sort of thing. But I was reading today that because it was so successful on the Smash Bros., so it might be Zelda Wii U, and I assume it would be Zelda NX, but I would love it if they're both called Zelda Wii U.
Zeldas have to have like sort of pseudo-dramatic titles that vaguely hint at a theme or place within the game, like Zelda Forlorn Hope or something like that.
Zelda Misguided Trip to Aldi.
Yeah.
It's my favourite
Zelda
one.
Dark Souls. That would be fine.
Zelda Dark Souls.
That would be a fine subtitle for a Zelda game. That works.
Zelda Grand Theft Auto. Ooh.
Oh god, I would love to see like a Bloodborne and Zelda crossover.
I would not.
No, it would just be the worst thing, and that's why I'd love to see it.
Would be awful. Oh my god, they just call it Zelda U. That's what they're going to call it. Zelda U.
Or Zelda.
Because one of the reasons I think the Wii U did so badly. Oh god. One of the reasons I think it did so badly is because of its name.
No. That is the only reason it did so badly.
Well, yeah, we can accept that that's like a huge...
I would say that is reason number one. Giant 30-foot flaming letters. This is how we fucked this up.
Yeah, and a way to confuse it even more by launching a game called Zelda Wii U or Zelda U, whatever, for two systems, one which people still think is the Wii, and a new one, but also called it the Zelda Wii U for the NX, but people think it's for the Wii, but also the NX. And what's the NX?
I hope the NX's actual name is like the Wii Z or something.
The Wii Z.
Or Wii 2. They just call it Wii 2.
Oh god, no. They're gonna do... I'd love if they did what the fucking 3DS. It's gonna be called the Wii U New. The new Wii U.
Oh my god. That would be the best thing.
I could totally see them doing that, though. It's the sad thing.
The new Wii U.
Like, I joke about that, but I could totally see them actually
I do like that they really fucked up the naming of the new 3DS. Sorry, they really fucked over the Wii U, and then they just did the exact same fucking thing with the new 3DS.
I mean, at least with the 3DS...
Because they don't think that people actually have conversations about these things. It's just...
Well, their legal department does everything they can to stomp out anyone having conversations about these things online, so that's probably where they're coming from.
But the thing is, though, at least with the 3DS, the new 3DS, it was much like the PS 4.5, kind of more of an incremental upgrade, while the Wii U was a whole new console. Mm-hmm. So I think they fucked up more there with the Wii U than at least the new 3DS.
There might just be an element to which they just don't care anymore, because that's not where the money's coming from anymore. The money's coming from Amiibos and Pokemon, and Pokemon Go, and a huge number of mobile stuff that's now going to be coming out, according to the most recent statements from Nintendo.
Can I make a disclaimer, as I bought 2 more Disney Infinity figures.
What was that?
What?
What was that in English?
I said I bought 2 more Disney Infinity figures.
And what figures were they, Matt?
Wow.
It was Judy Hopps and the other the Fox man from Zootopia.
Wow. You've actually made me sad. I would like to point out that the other money sink that's like that is Lego, whatever the fuck it's called, Dimensions. And I've only bought one of them because it was fucking Chell, and you can't get her in a regular Lego set.
Yeah.
So...
Well, that's it. No, I've got like 3 Amiibos, which are just the Splatoon ones. Well, I've got 4 because they've got the Zelda, Twilight Princess one because it came with the game. Mm-hmm. And I don't like the Amiibos very much, but the Disney Infinity ones, they're just really, really nice models. Like, they're just so well painted and sculpted.
They are very well painted, but they're buying into the idea of DLC being hidden behind another thing.
They are,
don't like
but
that idea.
For example, you can get Disney Infinity figures for about £4 or £5, and that's a good price for a nice model.
That's true, but that's also because they're a bit shit.
Yeah.
Because nobody really cares about Disney Infinity, because nobody
that's it, and they're
nicer
because when you buy the animated characters, like, the Star Wars ones look like shit, but, you know, I have the Inside Out ones and the Zootopia ones, and they just look really nice when they're, like, actually based off the animated characters, because they look like the animated character.
Yeah, Matt, you haven't sold us.
I know.
Has anyone
to
seen
justify
the
it.
footage of the 8 minutes of Pokemon Go that was doing the rounds online over the past few days?
I did. It looked like the most boring pile of tripe in the world.
It does look like they've kind of taken out large parts of the kind of the fun and tactics. Like, catching Pokemon now doesn't involve, like, status conditions or weakening them or, you know, getting them down to low HP, but then choosing the right Pokemon. I think it does just seem to be basically walk to a location where Pokemon is, then just start tossing Pokeballs that you're buying with real-world money through microtransactions until you happen to get, presumably, lucky because it's a catch rate as usual in Pokemon games, and then you catch the Pokemon. And that appears to be all it is to catching, which is
Nintendo have
very
realised something.
disappointing if that's what it is.
They've realised that all the games they've made would fit microtransactions perfectly, so they're just following that natural course.
Gotta buy them all.
Yeah, but it's much worse than that, because in the statements that came out recently, they've made clear that they're now planning to start tying mobile games together to major platform releases and fucking up and hamstringing major platform releases unless you also play the mobile game.
Yeah, you think in Pokemon Mun and Soon, or whatever the fuck they're called. Probably not Mun and Soon. I should have said Sun and Moon, because that's how it actually was. I was like, they're weird words, but I'm going to go with them. Yeah, probably that will time with Pokemon Go, and there'll be Pokemon that you can only catch by playing Pokemon Go.
Animal Crossing is the one we now have confirmed, where they have
This
specifically said, and I quote from Nintendo's own statement, by playing both Animal Crossing games, users will find increased enjoyment. Which is a polite way of saying that if you don't want to play the mobile game, we're going to give you a worse experience. We're going to deliberately make the console version that you're going to buy at full price worse to try and incentivize you to play a mobile game with microtransactions in it. That is what that is saying, and it is disgusting.
There's a more important thing to read into that. That means they're making another proper Animal Crossing game.
Yes, but one that will be deliberately filled with little calls to action to make you try and download that nice little mobile app.
If we can look at Assassin's Creed Unity as the clusterfuck of every bad sort of business game decision that we all hate. And one of the things in Assassin's Creed Unity that was sort of like that is a lot of chests dotted around the city. Yeah, to get them, it was like, you must be level whatever in the mobile app. And the mobile app was filled with microtransactions.
Yep.
Does the mobile app even exist anymore? Because that also basically time-limited their game to where now, if you play it in the future, even once they've fixed it, you won't be able to experience large parts of content anymore because the app will not exist.
Fixed this. They realised how badly, because there was about 5 different online services for Assassin's Creed Unity. There was like the there was one which was just like an online web, like a Facebook game type thing. Then there was the mobile app, and then there was the Uplay store, and then there was the multiplayer like clan thing. And so there ended up being a bit like so many chests locked to different things, and they ended up. I went back to it recently. All of them were removed. They're there and you can just get into them. Clearly close down all these servers and packed it so you can access them without the servers.
That is good at least. So they have slightly future-proof to their game.
I mean, it still runs. I mean, even in 10 years, I don't think it'll run well. Even on like in the newest car in 10 years, it probably won't run well still.
Well, no, it wasn't a good game to begin with, and taking out some of the more obnoxious bits will not make it less not good, but at least it's not a game that's going to be literally lost to time, like a game where the servers are just switched off.
Yeah, no, that's something at least. Still, though, that's a good example of like, are Nintendo going to do something like that, where there's just like this obnoxious kind of thing, or is it going to be more direct, or is it going to be more like literally just like a companion app?
Yeah, we know of Animal Crossing, we know of Fire Emblem. Obviously, we already knew about Pokemon Go. To the best of my knowledge, I think we only have those 3 confirmed at this point for mobile apps. Fire Emblem worries me, however, because Fire Emblem is famous for having permadeath. So having microtransactions in a game where if someone dies, they're gone forever, strikes me as going to very exploitative places, potentially.
What's that? You can pay more money and not die?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could look at Miitomo.
This
is their first sort of mobile app with microtransactions in. Mm-hmm. And the way they're done in that is it's very standard microtransactions. It's the same, 5 bundle type coin deal thing. But they're being very generous with what you get for free, and then I've not actually had to buy any coins to do anything in the game. Because you get bonuses just for logging in every day. And it seems like they're dipping their toe in the water with this to see how much they make.
Yeah, and they're probably making an absolute bollock ton from what I've heard.
Yeah.
It's going that way everywhere, because this has got less attention, but Microsoft earnings report came out recently. I think that was about a week ago as well. And those show that the money they're making off traditional sales, consoles and games, is going down, and the amount of money they're making off Xbox Live and microtransactions is going up. And it makes it clear that it looks like Nintendo wants to go in exactly the same direction. We're going into... The entire industry is shifting in this direction, where the old business model is fading in favour of more online, microtransactions, small payments, nickel and diming people. I'm sad. I'm sad that appears to be a thing that the companies... Whether they are being forced into it, or whether they are themselves encouraging it and creating it is a different question. But I'm sad.
Yeah, an interesting thing. I did almost buy game tickets in Miitomo.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to take seductive bread pictures for John.
Yes, and you've got one of them pinned. It's really, really disturbing.
I do, but to get that bread outfit, you have to play this arcade game, and to play the arcade game, you need tickets, or you need to spend the in-game money, and that goes quite quickly. And I ran out, and I was very tempted to buy some just so I could get this bread outfit, so I could take seductive pictures and send them to John, but I didn't. So, well done me.
Well done.
Thank you.
Very welcome. Yeah, I have no interest in microtransactions. See, the one game that I actually like that Nintendo makes is Animal Crossing, and I've said many times that the best menu system any Nintendo console could ever have would be Animal Crossing. You boot the console up, and as you boot the console up, you appear in your house in Animal Crossing, and then you have the standard discs menu and stuff all in sort of one of your rooms of your house. But then you go out and it's a full Animal Crossing game. So you're actually, instead of having sort of a menu, you have more of an interactive. And genuinely, then everyone gets Animal Crossing. And because it's your menu, it's an Animal Crossing, you'll keep playing, and then you could slide in a few of your stupid DLC things that you want.
So replace sort of like Mii's with Animal Crossing?
Yeah, you generally would have a sort of you could Animal Crossing them up, I suppose. But then it would, so you just, as you turn the console on, you're playing Animal Crossing from the get-go. They literally code it into the bus, and then it's just a much more fun sort of experience. You can obviously turn it off and just go to standard menus and stuff, but a much more fun sort of experience, and everyone gets a nice game out of it. But by the sound of this, it just looks like we're going to get an Animal Crossing game that's been ripped apart because they're trying to sell shit on the mobile thing. Because Animal Crossing is the only game where wait timers make sense. Because everything will be done tomorrow, because you play it for a few minutes today and then you go on to tomorrow. Whereas most games with wait timers, you're going to wait till tomorrow. There's no reason for it. It's just going to take a particularly long time. Hey, Dungeon Keeper, 24 hours to wait to dig out a fucking hole. Hey, Simpsons Hit and Run, 90 fucking days to wait for whatever the fuck that was.
Not Simpsons Hit and Run, Simpsons Tapped Out.
Whatever, yeah. Well, they're both terrible games. One slightly more frustratingly terrible than the other, but we'll get to that later.
Stuff.
Oh god, all the new Futurama. I was so excited about that. A Futurama game! Please don't be shitty. Please don't be a Simpsons tapped out sort of thing. It's a match 3 puzzler! Oh, balls.
Oh. I'm sad. Well, I'm more sad now.
Fine. As a Futurama fan, I'm used to being abused.
Pretty sad already, but...
I'm already sad. But yeah, the microtransactions that they could put into Animal Crossing, you're building a house. Well, if you buy, someone on Twitter called them platinum bells, you could spend a few platinum bells, and then it'll be built today, and they can actually completely destroy the fabric of what makes that game great.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a bad thing. In fact, it's very bad. In fact, Nintendo getting... See, I'm kind of glad that... Because I think the company that's kind of shifting furthest into this is Nintendo. And that's great, because they're the company that I care least about. But when it starts coming over to companies that I like, then I will be angry. But then again, I kind of won't, because I'm on the VR train now, baby. I don't give a shit about your video games. I would argue this. This is the argument I'm going to make now, and this is one of the most difficult arguments I'm ever going to make. I think the Vive has the greatest launch lineup of anything ever.
Does
it?
Well,
the funny thing is, nothing on it's particularly interesting. It's just interesting because it's in VR most of it, and it's VR so good that it makes those.
That is kind of the argument. Good. Is that it's so far in advance that everything I've played on there has been some of the most. My list of top games of the year are just all them. Because even though they're not pushing ridiculous boundaries or anything, there is so much fun and newness and interest and excitement there.
How much longevity do you think there is, though?
You see,
After you've experienced them for the first few hours, do you think you'll ever want to go back after? Is there any actual replayability to these at all?
No.
You've had the experience.
I would say no, but, and this is a big but, I don't really go in for games with replayability. I like to play it through once and then be done with it and then go on to something else. So for me, it really fits. I mean, that's what I really like about this lineup of games, is that a lot of them are something you play for a short while and then you're done with, and then you put it away and you play with the next thing. And I really like that I'm actually getting through games for the first time in forever. There are some that are doing me, I'm actually spending quite a lot of time in. Audio Shield is one. That's got infinite replayability because it can literally play any music track from your... It's a rhythm action game, and it plays any music track from your hard drive or online. It's amazing. It's a really solid game. But my favourite one has been Job Simulator, and there'll be a couple of videos on that coming up.
Interesting game, like just for
it's
VR.
The most fun I have had in a game in so long, because it doesn't feel like a game. It's so much more. It feels like I'm part of a big play. Like I'm just doing this role in this play, and it lets me be a lot more creative than other stuff, and lets me be really silly. And there are in one of the levels that you can do, which is the garage level, there is Justin Rowland of Rick and Morty fame. All the voices of Rick and Morty, pretty much. He is doing a radio show. He has 2 radio shows as weird characters and things.
Oh, he's in the
He's in the lab as well. He's in a lot of these VR things, which
Yeah.
I'm really happy about. And I believe he's making some VR games as well right now.
I think the thing that got me most for like in Job Simulator was seeing someone pick up the kettle, put it under the tap, put their other hand over it, turn on the tap, fill the kettle, like while holding it, and then put the kettle on the oven and then turn off the tap simultaneously. Mm-hmm. That simple thing is not possible without VR.
Yeah, there's so much that's not possible without VR. I mean, it's not just the fact that I'm loving playing by myself. It's the videos that I'm making with it are just so much fun because I can just do so much with it, and I get so much more personality and stuff across. Like because it is a proper full on. Like I've become part of it. It becomes more of an act. It's a lot more physical, and I have so much more fun making it. I mean, the tilt brush thing is a nice introduction video to VR, but then we'll hit Job Simulator on Saturday, and oh boy.
It's kind of like more of a vlog sketch, but not.
It's weird. It's a weird thing. But the thing is that I've played them all by myself as well, and I have such a good time just being silly by myself because you're totally immersed in the world, and then you're just following along and being like, "This is just stupid." Like you're sticking bananas in people's tailpipes before they leave, and like, "Ah, fuck you!" And it's your own little bunch of creativity that has like immediate payoff, and it's there, and it's like visceral because it's literally there in front of you. I like VR.
Pretty she took my payment for the Vive today, which means it should ship very soon.
Ooh.
And I'm so excited. At the same time, incredibly annoyed because I have no space here to do it. I was planning on doing it in a new apartment, which has it. Yeah,
I have literally the bare minimum space in my office, like literally the smallest amount of space possible.
What's the viable space it needs?
It needs 2 meters by 1.5 meters, which is quite a small space, but it's pretty.
If you can sit down and move,
you can set it up to just be a sit down as well, so you don't actually need to have the big walkie roundy games, but you can do that.
I might have to measure the space in the area I record because I'm probably just 2 by 1.5.
Yeah, I'm exactly. I'm like 2.2 by 1.6 or something, so I'm just on the thing. But of course, you can go up to I think it's 5 by 5 meters, and it's yeah.
Yeah, my office area is a little bit. I'm sat on maybe half a meter by like 1.5 meters.
Oh, yeah. That's small. But it's something else. VR is something very. I was going into it like this is going to kind of be cool because I did the Oculus One dev kit when it was like brand new, and I was like, oh, that was interesting, but there's a lot of work there, and now I'm like, yeah, I'm going to spend a lot of time in this. I don't think it's like entirely there yet. I will say there are some problems that I have with the Vive.
Go on.
Now after a lot more playing that I've done, but they're all sort of on. They're very tiny things. Like there is a slight wobble to it. If you're standing perfectly still, there is a teeny tiny wobble. But apparently, you can eliminate this somehow by doing lots of tests and setting things up in certain ways. And I have slightly botched the setup because of the way I've got to set it up. So I can't. It's a rented place. I can't screw into the wall. So I've got one of the things is slightly too low. So that might be causing it. But it does mean if I stand perfectly still and stare at something, it has a very, very slight wobble.
Which is noticeable.
It's not noticeable. I would say if I was standing still and not doing something, it's not noticeable. But if I'm playing in the theatre mode, where you basically, if you want to bung on 2K16 or Dark Souls or something, and you want to play it on a big cinema screen, because it's so close to the screen, when you're reading the text, you can see it, and that's the only time I see it. But it is very slight, and that's kind of it.
If you can fix it.
Yeah, if I can fix it. I mean, to fix the theatre mode, I just need to sit a bit further back. Because it's a bit too big for me. It's because I got my glasses and shit on. Fits with my glasses really well as well.
When I get my Vive, me and you are fucking playing Hover Junkers, and I will have no argument.
That's fine. That's still on my list. There are so many games out for the Vive at the moment that is still on my list. I haven't even touched it yet. There's a lot of things that I still have to get to. My least favourite game so far is Universe Sandbox 2, which has its own Vive version. There is a video on this, but there will be a video on this. But the reason that is my least favourite game is because it is the most terrifying video game I've ever played in my entire life.
Right.
It is horrific, and that's because your creation, like your one, so it's entirely built from VR. None of the menus and stuff exist. It's all rebuilt entirely for VR. So, like, your first thing will drop you in a solar system, and there's the Earth just sitting there, and you can shrink it, and you can make it big, and it all feels very, Iron Man sort of UI sort of stuff. And you're like, oh, this is very interesting. And then you load up something where it's, like, small. So I loaded up, like, sort of the dice and things, and I'm like, oh, look, there's some dice and thing. But, like, you default to creating the moon. So, because you can still create things and fling things into other things, and you can create a meteorite. You can crash the Earth into the moon and watch that happen at full size. And that is terrifying. Cool. It's terrifying because the creation tool defaults to create a moon. So you've got this sort of ghost, like, in the distance. It's like you'll create it in the distance, so you can see like a ghost of a moon. But it's the size of the moon. It's huge. And if you create it, it's just a big moon there.
I mean, can you stand on the Earth and make a moon crash into you?
I honestly bottled before I got too far. I would say absolutely you can.
This is the best Majora's Mask remake ever.
I don't know how big you can get actually the scale of it all. I don't think you can. It is actually full sort of that scale. It might be. I don't know, but it is terrifying. You can sort of fly around and stuff, which is nice. And there's a little TARDIS that I found hidden away at one point. It doesn't have everything Universe Sandbox does, and it's the buggiest game that I've played. I actually got stuck in it for a while, which is VR fucking nightmares. Because I literally couldn't go out and all the controls became unresponsive, so I'm just floating in space like, well, I die here. But yeah, so that's got a few issues to it, but that was the thing that made me go, oh wow, VR is going to be really scary.
There was a great game I played on the DK2 before they changed the back end and it didn't work. There were two great games played on the DK2 actually. One was you were in this somewhat it was like a large shuttlecraft, like a two-seater shuttlecraft, and you just flew around the solar system. It wasn't like it was like Rodinia in the sense everything was proper size. And there was no real purpose, it was just explore. But it was so well done. Like, everything you had to go through, like, these warp gates and everything to get to each planet. And you couldn't land on them, but you could get very close. And I just remember arriving at, it was one of the gas giants, I can't remember. I remember trying to go into the gas giant. And as I went in, and everything just turned to this, like, very thick, I couldn't see. And I was genuinely terrified. Because I didn't know if I was going to explode or where I was going. And it was this horrible feeling. And it was that in VR was amazing. And also another one was an X-Wing and flying around near the Death Star and shooting TIE fighters. And that was incredible. I turned around and there was R2-D2.
Aww.
I know.
R2. Oh, I've thought of another game I didn't like on the Vive. And that was Elite Dangerous, because the text is too fucking small and I can't read it.
Oh, fuck. On the DK2, it's so bad that since the resolution's so low, you can't even read the text.
Yeah.
So it's terrible.
Yeah, I couldn't make out any of it. I mean, I do have a slight extra blur, because like the lenses blur at the edge. And because I have massive glasses, they blur at the edge as well. So it blurs at the edge a lot more for me. So I do have
Do you need to wear the glasses? Because a lot of people don't need to wear their glasses in.
Yeah, I fucking need to wear glasses. I'm blind as a fucking bat. I can't see shit with it without my glasses on. Like, not even slightly. But it's like people who are like, oh, I've got +1 or +1.5. The VR will correct that or something. I don't know. But I've got fucking +8s over here. So I'm fucking fucking Mr. Magoo. I'm blind and I can't see shit. I've got, like, Professor Farnsworth is, like, his massive bottle glasses. That's what mine used to look like until I got them, like, thinned down. So, yeah.
Sexy.
But yeah, so I linked Dangerous, I tried, and I just couldn't get the, I couldn't read the text or anything, which made it sort of an issue. But I don't know if that's just, again, a glasses issue or whatever. But I don't want to buy VR contacts.
Johnny, you're going to join us and buy VR? Cause
I've held off for now. It's a lot of money. It's a big amount of money for the Vive.
I see, from the YouTuber's perspective, my argument was, I'm going to buy this because I know I'm going to make a lot of videos with it. Mm-hmm. And I know, I mean, if it was decent, I was going to make a lot of videos with it, and then it would be, you know, it would pay for itself, as it were. Mm-hmm. That was the plan. But,
that was the plan.
But I'm pretty, I don't know, it's something else. It really blew me away, and I haven't been blown away by a game for quite some time, or anything like this. I mean, I'm very much looking forward to getting Euro Truck Simulator working with it, because apparently that is now been modded into the Vive.
At that point, could you just become a truck driver? Would
Yes.
that potentially be easier and also
If
pay
that
you?
works properly as I think it would, I'm going to buy myself a steering wheel.
No, I think he means actually literally become a truck driver.
Yeah.
Like
Why
in
would,
real
you
life.
why would you actually do that? I can do it from the comfort of my own Vive headset.
Because they pay you for doing it in real life.
Yes.
But I paid for playing games anyway, so...
We've come
it's the
dangerously
difference
close to the Simpsons yard work simulator joke.
We are. Oh my god, playing Job Simulator, that's all the jokes I want to make all the time. I'm like, that's exactly what this is. That's all this is. But yeah, it's nice. And the best thing about it is they actually realise that people are going to want to see this shit on YouTube, so they kick out a nice 1080p video stream for you to use. Oh, that's the best thing. So I can actually get videos of this thing and glue it all together and make it proper. I've got 2 Job Simulator videos in a row. I'll see how people deal with those. They might become 4, because I would love to do each job. Because I was literally going to go through all 4 jobs in one video, and then I got so much fun stuff happening that I just did one for each video.
I may have to get one of these. These sound
So
fun.
good. It's just my favorite one in that is in Job Simulator is just like sitting behind the shop door, like fucking clerk style, just behind the jump, and giving people lottery tickets and that sort of thing, and doing lottery tickets myself when no one's there, just getting the laugh when you win. My only downside with Job Simulator is that they could quite easily have given it sort of like a random mode, where you get sort of a nice bit of longevity. There is something when you finish all of them. I don't want to spoil what it is, but it's not like a random mode. The way that the people will come in are always the same. And it's always like 14 to 16 steps on all of the games. You always have the same jobs to do. So it is, again, it does feel a bit tech demo-y, but it's also some of the best gaming experiences I've ever had, and it does last like hours. So,
How is the pricing going to work for this? Like, are the games, when they start coming out rather than just being included in the launch, are they going to be appropriately cheaper than traditional games?
Interesting, because
a lot of them are like £30 for basically a £10
Job Simulator
game.
came out at $40, and then they knocked that price down $10 permanently, because they said, okay, now we've seen sort of what everybody else is doing, and the field's sort of settling. So at the moment it's everywhere, but it's starting to sort of settle around. It seems to be a bit more expensive than a standard game for the sort of longevity and thing, but I'm okay with that because it's so much better. It's like when people are like, "Oh, you've spent, £60 and it's only what's a game these days? £40 and it's only like a 5-hour game." I'm like, yeah, but I like music. I go to concerts and that shit's just an hour and a half for hundreds sometimes. So we'll not do that. We'll not argue that. I don't know. I think the Vive is, if you've got the money, like I bought fucking every game that could come out for it because I'm so fucking hyped by everything. I'm like, horror shooter, fuck that one. But everything else feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm not doing horror games in that. I can barely deal with the fact that the moon exists in VR. I'm not going to deal with zombies running at my face. That's just terrifying.
I remember one of the things I tried in the DK2. It was because on the DK2 obviously there was no store, so it was just a lot of trying to find things to download, like tech demos. I remember one of the things I tried, it was like a grid-based dungeon crawler thing. Well, I assume that's what it was.
What's that? There is one, the thingy one. There is a grid-based dungeon crawler that's in 3D, and I'm wondering if it was that. Is it the turn-based one?
I don't know. Well, I can't remember.
Okay.
It probably was. I mean, movement's turn-based, but combat wasn't. I can't remember what it was, but I distinctly remember like going through and moving along and going, oh, it's quite dark. I didn't know it was a horror game. Then I looked up at a hole in the roof.
Uh-huh.
And then a monster jumped down at me. And it's so much worse. And I hate jump scares normally, like in a normal Scream when I know they're coming. But when I don't know the jump scare's coming, and it's literally real to me,
yeah,
I shit my pants.
VR is a bit strange because like I will like rest my controller on shit that doesn't exist and just let go of it, and it will just like dangle off the wrist strap. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not a real thing. But the others started to happen to me. The other things started to happen to me, so I'm like, okay, none of this actually exists. But then, like, in real world, I have smashed my hand into my desk trying to reach something that was on the floor. There was a desk in the way.
Yeah.
The desk doesn't exist. So VR does kind of get in your head a little bit. I think it's a bit
This sounds like the
scary.
beginning of a horror
what
film.
astronauts do.
It kind of does. VR. Yeah, I'd watch that.
Because I know a lot of astronauts, a lot of times when they get back to Earth after being on the ISS for a while, they'll just sort of be holding something and just let go of it in midair because they expect it just to stay there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, they'll just be like, oh, okay, here's a pen, right? And they let go of the pen to do something with it, and then it falls to the ground, and they get very confused.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff.
Isn't this basically the story of the bloke, the FBI bloke in Heavy Rain? He got really obsessed.
Yes.
He suddenly couldn't. He had done too much virtual reality, and all of a sudden he starts seeing little tanks crawling on his desk, even when he's
I
not
thought that
using
was
his
just
little headset
augmented.
anymore.
I thought that was just augmented reality, not virtual reality. He still had his desk and stuff.
He turned his office into like a lovely little autumn wonderland. So kind of a mix. I guess it's probably still augmented reality, just very augmented reality. If you start bleeding from your nose, stop using the Vive.
I bleed from my nose all the time, dude.
Someone's made an interesting point in the chat about sort of how many people are going to have a heart attack due to the Vive. And I don't think people are necessarily going to have heart attacks, but you know the way sort of like
oh no, people are going to
like,
die in VR. People are going to absolutely die playing VR.
No, this is the thing, right? You know PTSD, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Could you legitimately get PTSD from VR because it's so realistic, from doing something horrific in VR?
I think it can do, but I don't think actual PTSD, because you can walk away from it immediately. It can be it can be something that screws you up for a moment, but then you realise you could walk away from it.
Well, yeah, but do you think like the horror thing, like that jump thing on me in like a really low res sprite? I want to point out it was like style like N64, like SNES style, like Doom. It was like Doom level of quality, and it's something really realistic.
Almost certainly, yes. Because do you remember when Avatar, the film, came out recently, and there were stories in the press about people who had seen it 14 times and were reporting depression because they were so sad that they weren't part of the Na'vi race, for example. They got so into it because it was so because it was 3D. And you know, clearly 3D. There are mad people in the world. So if people can get really obsessed with, you know, a 2.5 hour 3D film, yes, some people will get obsessed in positive and negative ways with VR. Some people will become so obsessed with it that they use it way, way, way too much
and stop being able to
function in the real world. And some people will screw themselves up being too scared by it.
There's an ensign in one of the I think in the Next Generation, and that they've created this hollow deck world for themselves, and they have this addiction to it, and it's so realistic that they keep. I can't remember what it was. I can't remember his name. He was sort of like a half main character, but like they've covered like Star Trek have covered a lot about like VR and sort of virtual reality, and how it can affect people. And I'm genuinely, I am genuinely curious, like how it's gonna fuck people up.
It's gonna
like
fuck
horrible
people
ways.
Oh, it's gonna fuck people
like not just getting obsessed, but you know, like a fucking demon spawn hell beast like jumping out at you when you're not expecting and gnawing your face off in VR. It's probably gonna fuck with you if you're not adverse to it. Like
people can be fucked with royally even just by getting obsessed with something. People die let family members and infants die because of World of Warcraft. God only knows what the death toll from VR is going to be.
Oh no, there is a positive here though. The controllers need charging, so people have to take a break. That's
true. You don't have them plugged in.
Yeah.
I don't think they pick up while they're charging, because they completely go into charge mode. Oh, that's probably a good saving point.
You have to take a break.
No, people just buy 2 or 3 sets. They'll just have multiple different sets of Vives.
No way.
Yeah, that's very true. They'll get round it.
It's a matter of time until
they do have
the
to
first
take
story of someone who lives their entire life in virtual reality now because they've got multiple different setups in one room where they just switch from one to the other, and they actually get anxiety attacks when they're taking off one headset and putting on the other. It's going to happen. Just wait.
Well, this is it. I was sort of thinking about this, where I started getting this part when I go, because I don't have a living room right now. So I was debating, I was going, do I even need a living room? Because I could do it in VR.
You could.
Like, could I just make a living room in VR and just have that?
The dystopia is
Just
getting
have a screen.
worse.
No, that was this. I was
It sounds like it's getting
considering
better.
that.
Why don't we just
No,
all
obviously,
live in
I was just-
tubes and imagine the rooms are there? Ooh.
Honestly, right, I don't mind the Matrix. The Matrix doesn't seem like that bad a thing. Like, I mean, yeah, they are harvesting you for batteries, but the Matrix in it, like, living in the Matrix
can
doesn't
we
seem like a
just- can we
bad
wrap
The
thing.
Matrix
on
would be a good thing
Can we
if
wrap on
everyone
that
in it
back?
were happy and there were wish fulfillment. But the thing is, people get to live out really horrible lives within the Matrix while still being a battery. The Matrix only seems cool because you assume if you were in the Matrix, you'd be like Neo and you'd be able to fly and do martial arts and whatever.
not even like
you
Neo.
Might not.
Just-
You
it's
might have the
normal
boring
life.
office job in the Matrix.
Yeah, but that's still like real life, innit? It's not as good as going out and being like, oh, I'm a shit guy and with holes all over me, living in a fucking hovercraft with fucking what's his name?
Yeah, but you get to
What were you
go.
gonna
You
say,
get
Dan?
to go and have the sex raves in the middle of the earth. That's probably
I'm
better
not
than
a
a
fan
night.
of
That's
the
probably
sex-
better
That
than
was
an
the
office job.
worst bit. I'd much rather
I'm
be
not
all.
a fan of the sex rave.
I'd rather just be turned to Agent Smith. That'd be my thing.
What are you going to say, Dan? You were.
I was going to say I want to retcon the idea that the Matrix captured people and turned them into batteries. The robots did, because that's not what they did. They turned them into processing power. They used them to process the Matrix. The Matrix being processed through all the people that were in it. That was the original plan for the script, but they changed it because Warner Bros. Went, oh, no one's going to understand that, turn it into batteries. So I just assume
Yeah, and
Morpheus is
batteries-
wrong. And
Like,
they're
scientific
actually
sense for
doing process
batteries
power.
makes no sense because humans are a
'cause
terrible
humans,
battery. Like,
they make
power
fuck
cells.
all.
Anyway,
So,
break.
yeah.
Break.
Processing power. Oh, break!
New
It's the
toys
break.
videos out. Star Trek stuff. It's 10 minutes. Shall we have a 10-minute break or?
10-minute break. Yeah, it's good. These are the inner space figures. They're like the Mighty Max and Polly Pocket ones, but they're like tiny Star Trek ones, and they're all in boxes because I'm cool.
No, you're not.
Or are they?
Shut up,
Yeah.
Dan. See you in
Yeah.
10. Well, like 12.
Bye. 12.
And that's the end of the. Oh God! No, I ruined the welcome back. Oh God! Sorry, I was supposed to. No. Damn it! Why did you
Oh
make
my
me do the
God.
welcome back and Noah's gonna mess it up?
Oh my god, we gave John a modicum of power and he ruined it.
Also, it was a bad joke as
Oh.
well, so it wasn't. It was like bad on both accounts.
Yeah.
John, you're
you.
shit at staging things.
Oh.
I'm
You're
ruining
like
the
moon
illusion.
landing.
Mm-hmm.
Hi guys, welcome back. So that
Welcome
everyone's
back to the
happy here.
Podcats.
Okay, what else is there
Friend is
to
rubbing
talk
upon
about
us.
then?
John has a
I
thing.
want to talk about the hugely important, possibly entire industry changing return. The most important thing that has happened this month, this year, possibly this decade, possibly since the millennium, possibly ever, actually, which is John Romero is back.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, for many of you, possibly, you won't actually know who the bloody hell John Romero is, because especially younger people, he's been gone for quite a while. Basically, John Romero was one of the creators of the original Doom and Quake. And then that's pretty much it. Then there's a whole bunch of emptiness and failure in the meantime, which was...
He created a new Doom map like a couple of months ago, didn't he? Like a mod.
He did, which was, I assume, kind of him just kind of gently reintroducing himself into the public realm ahead of what he's actually decided to do, which is ahead of, basically just for the history, his failure is ultimately epitomised by Daikatana, a game which basically just reads Duke Nukem Forever, a game that was in development forever, constantly being cancelled and restarted, and just turned into an utter mess that nobody really liked. But then, despite that massive failure, despite how hyped up he's basically Peter Molyneux. He's Peter Molyneux, and possibly with even more failure involved. But despite
That's
having
harsh.
had about...
That's very harsh.
I know that is harsh, but him and Peter
Peter
Molyneux
Molyneux
should
is
just
Peter
go and get
Molyneux.
drunk together and swap ridiculous stories that aren't in any way true about
They'll
things
make
that aren't
something
going to
terrible
happen.
and steal everyone's money.
Yeah,
Oh.
they'd make a brilliant game together. It would be marvellous. So having had about a decade off to learn some humility and the value of, not making ridiculously outlandish promises and bigging up his own importance as a ridiculously powerful, important auteur creator. On April the 20th, he launched a video on YouTube, which is basically a parody of the end of Star Wars Episode 7 with himself in the role of Luke Skywalker, where Adrian Cormack goes up to him wearing a robe in the middle of a rural area that looks a bit like the island bit at the end of Star Wars Episode 7 and hands him a keyboard back in place of the lightsaber to indicate that mighty, mighty Luke Skywalker John Romero has returned unto us, suggesting that his ego has actually grown even further in the 10 years he's been missing. And the amazing thing is, this remarkable video, and I think it's called John Romero The Return, it's didn't even announce anything. It was pre-announcing that 5 days later he was going to be announcing something.
Great.
And it told us to all go and check out his website, nightworkgames.com, where there was going to be a massive announcement on April 25th. On April 25th, they forgot to update nightworkgames.com and still have not updated it to make any reference whatsoever to what the announcement was. Instead, you have to click through from nightworkgames.com to John Romero's Twitter, where he announced that it's starting a Kickstarter, because of course he is. Because he wants $700,000 to make a game that is basically a shooter that's going to be really, really old school, like proper rocket jumping old school.
Yeah, but we have that though.
Well, I guess it's kind of like Painkiller, but it's going to be terrible. Basically, Painkiller, but terrible is what it's going to be.
So
obviously, he doesn't have a game to show us yet. He's just got some concept art, and would you believe it, some ridiculously lofty promises that are never going to make it untouched through development, because he's doing Daikatana all over again.
The thing is that we've had some, like saying, oh, it's going to be an old school shooter. Like, we've had Shadow Warrior, and we've had Doom, we've had the new Wolfenstein, who have all been great old school style shooters. And like,
whoa.
Yeah, but
I played 6 seconds of the new Doom, and I'm like, oh god, no.
Okay, the new Doom is probably generous. Let's ignore the new Doom. But Wolfenstein and Shadow Warrior...
Yeah, but I'll tell you what Black Room has that those games don't have. Weaponized combat. That's one of the Kickstarter promises. It's not just got combat in it, it's got weaponized combat, which is presumably better than normal shooters because they specifically drew attention to it. Also, they made a big deal about the fact the game's being developed in Ireland, so it's going to have Irish castles in it.
Okay,
I want to point out, right, Ireland's not known for its game development sort of prowess.
Oh, no. John Romero assures us in his Kickstarter video that Ireland is full of scrappy, brave, noble coders who are really, really good.
Ireland is known for its potatoes, its meat products, its vegetables, and its lax tax laws.
Don't forget about the slight bit of, issues between Protestants and Catholics.
Well, that's not really an issue in the Republic.
Hey, if he's making a game about that in first-person shooter, that would be really interesting.
I found the Irish castles remark particularly interesting because, of course, like, if you're basically the guy who made Doom and Quake and you're going to be making a game in the style of Doom and Quake, yeah, mate, we were kind of assuming there were going to be grey castles in it. We're kind of assuming there's going to be nothing but grey castles in it. But yes, what else do we have here? Oh, there was also a baffling shot of him walking, just a collage of shots of him walking through the streets of an unnamed Irish city, but also faking, like, greeting people and waving at them and shaking their hands like he's a local celebrity who everyone likes, but it's blatantly obviously staged. So he just walks down the street and just runs into someone he knows and waves at them and shakes their hand. It's ridiculous. And then it goes from John Romero introducing the game into a Batman kind of gravelly voice talking about the game. Except, despite the fact they've decided to hire someone with a kind of Batman gravelly voice to introduce the game, the writing feels like it's been done by, like, a teenager, because it's incredibly badly written.
I wonder what Hideo Kojima was up to.
Let me just quote some of the things in Batman voice that's in the video. So basically, the concept for Black Room is that it is a technology to be anywhere, anytime, in indistinguishable virtual reality. All in a black room.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But then unfortunately, and this is the twist, something went wrong, you might call it a glitch. That is an actual quote from the concept for the game. Something went wrong, you might call it a glitch. You have no idea what's happening until it happens to you.
Okay, two quick points. Someone in the chat mentioned that Ireland's known as an IT hotspot. Well, it's got a lot of IT people in there, and a lot of big tech companies have their European offices there, but it's not exactly a game development hotspot. Also, complete side note, related not to games at all, Ted Cruz announced that Carly Fiorina woman is his running mate for VP.
Ooh, what's VP? Most victorious person.
Most victorious person, yeah.
What's that got to do with John Romero?
Literally nothing.
She's the most valuable player.
She's the
Do you know what my favourite John Romero fact is? And I hope it's still true.
Go on.
Mm-hmm.
If you go on his Wikipedia, one of his categories is the word hair.
He has terrible hair.
He does have a lot of hair. I think he's been growing it out even more for his big Skywalker reveal of pulling the hood off to reveal a ton of hair and a beard.
I'm going to now look this shit up because I want to see if it's still
It's
there.
really bad
It's one of my
hair.
favourite facts about it.
It very likely is still there. So
very
that
bad hair.
is in fact John Romero's massive new Kickstarter. Don't back it, you'll just encourage him.
Well, the problem is, like, this...
Biography, personal life, hair. His hair is above recognition in games. This is the dude who invented the word deathmatch and sort of basically kind of invented the FPS a bit.
What is he?
And his hair is above his... How good is his hair that it's better than the first-person shooter?
See, my biggest problem with the sort of Kickstarter is just that, like, most Kickstarters, even, like, cheap ones, they have something to show.
Yeah, they particularly like professional game people should probably have something to show more than just concept art.
Professional
and also
game
footage
people
of Adrian
never.
Cormack painting with oil paints.
Ever do it. Tim Schafer didn't do it. Peter Molyneux didn't do it. None of them go, hey, I've got this idea that I'm working on. They go, hey, I'm well known for doing a thing. Here's my next thing. Give me money.
Unfortunately, John Romero is only well known for making false promises, taking things to develop vastly longer than he promises they're going to, and then massively undelivering a product that everyone hates.
When did
which
he
means
last do
will fit in
something?
very nicely on Kickstarter.
Oh, yeah. When did he last do something? What was his last thing he did, properly?
I know he worked on
He's kind of went missing
Ratchet.
after Daikatana. He's had some partial credits dotted around, but pretty much he just kind of disappeared in disgrace. Like, I always kind of assumed that at like the Daikatana, after the reviews came in, like someone picked him up when lightning was coming out of his hands and threw him into a big pit, and that was the end of him or something.
Oh
It
my God,
genuinely
what
felt
if
like he
he's
disappeared
doing-
off the face of the earth.
What if he knew the ending of the new Star Wars and just vanished because he knew that Luke was going to vanish? He's trying to make himself the most Luke Skywalker in the world.
Ooh,
Yeah,
here's...
he clearly considers himself gaming's Luke Skywalker, which is kind of amazing.
Here's something interesting. In August 2014, in a Super Joystick podcast at Gamescom, Romero announced that he was about to make a new shooter, stating he was working with a concept artist and he had some cool imagery for the main character.
That will presumably then been Adrian Cormack, who's since been confirmed he's working with on making this, and we have indeed seen some of that art. But when he's discussing Adrian Cormack being the lead kind of art person, it cuts to footage of Adrian Cormack painting with oil paints on canvas.
And
Which is a very strange thing to cut.
I also
to.
want to point out what's very strange about this is he said this in August 2014. So, for the past year and a half before he launched the Kickstarter, did they do nothing?
That is pretty much the standard
doing.
John Romero timescale. Yes.
It was just trying to find a village in Ireland that he was allowed in still.
Oh,
He was probably spending it all on hotels, rockstar lifestyle, huge amounts
Island.
of
I kind of
advertising.
imagine him stealing a bag of crisps from Tesco's, and then when he gets caught, complaining that he invented the FPS. And that should lay him off. Like, I made Wolfenstein 3D, for fuck's sake! I'm John fucking Romero!
oh,
Holding like a carrier bag with like some sensation chili flavour just stuffed on in there.
oh, yeah. It's expected to be released in 2018. Oh,
Wow.
apparently,
Never gonna happen.
apparently he took part in a game called Dangerous Dave in the Deserted Pirates Hideout
Oh, everyone's favourite.
in 2015. That's his most
Heard of
recent
that?
thing. Gotta Google it.
Yeah.
I think I've heard
That just
It's an iOS game.
My game of the year last year.
It's an iOS game that looks really shit. Like, incredibly shit. Notify...
Yeah, I got that from iOS game.
Oh, here's the newest update as well. What the changelog for version 1.1. The first bullet point in the 1.1 changelog is notifies the player about the benefits of paying for in-app purchases.
Wow. That sounds
There's only
nice.
one in-app purchase though, which is just remove ads. It's like it's a free game and you pay £1.50 if you want the ads removed.
Okay.
So that's
Basically, John Romero hasn't done anything of note for 2 decades and now wants $700,000 to turn his fairy dreams into reality.
yes.
I've not done anything for almost 3 decades. Can I have $700,000, please?
I don't know. Have you tried launching a Kickstarter?
I haven't.
Interesting.
There you go.
This game is solo developed. No, wait, what? What the fuck? Alfonso Romero. The fuck's Alfonso Romero?
Maybe there's more. Maybe his clone batch has leaked out.
Oh,
Maybe that's what he's been doing for the past decade, cloning himself, getting ready.
God. It's the worst.
The
thing.
Clone Wars. Oh my god, it's all Star Wars. Trek. Star Wars, I was right the first time.
I mean, has anyone actually been keeping that close an eye on Ireland? Is it possible that John Romero is every 5th person in Ireland by this point? He's been just slowly taking it over.
I mean, Ireland's
does
population
look-
is like 5 million, so that's distinctly possible.
He does look like every 5th person in Ireland, though, which I find quite entertaining. Right, anything else to bitch about John Romero? Because I've got to bitch about something now.
What would you like to bitch about, Dan?
I want to bitch about Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Okay, just to say before Dan goes on a rant, me and Dan hate the new Mirror's Edge Catalyst. John likes it, thinks it's all right.
No, that's too strong. That's way too strong.
Okay. But we want to just say that just because we don't like it doesn't inherently make it a bad game. So go on, Dan.
Oh, there are bits of that game that are bad.
Oh, they are, but the whole game isn't bad just because we hate it. I mean,
I think it's a bad game. I go as far as to say it's a bad game. It's blurry and
it's a mediocre game.
Yeah. It's bad in places as well. Some bits it's good, some bits it's mediocre, and quite a lot of it is bad.
Okay.
Because it's like, as an actual, if you take it place, it's like there's this thing that happens when you play video games, and then you play an open world video game, and you go, oh my god, all video games should be open world. And then it's 4 years later, and you play way more video games, and you're like, I'm fucking sick of open world games. Oh my god, I want small linear things. And that's where I'm at, because like, when I did my Mirror's Edge video, I was like, oh my god, I want it to be open world, it'd be the best thing ever. And since then, I've been like, oh no, that's just going to be a mistake. Because that's not a game that works so well, because that's not a game that works with backtracking. Because Mirror's Edge works with sort of trying to struggle and work out where you've got to go, and then, you know, you can do it faster and faster and learn it. But like, the actual game was basically a one-way trip through a nice, interesting
That's an
set of
interesting
levels.
point, because there are a lot of places in Mirror's Edge that you just simply can't go back on yourself, and they've had to design this catalyst so you can, and as a result the levels are just not very interesting and not very layered.
Yep. And it's also bad in places. See, it's like, I thought, I didn't have much hope because it's EA, and they seem to take a thing and they go, hey, how about the mainstream? What if the mainstream like this thing as well? And I wish they'd just give Mirror's Edge Catalyst a much smaller budget and like, just make a thing for the people who liked it. Just get people in who like to do the first one, and then, you know, make a game for the people who like the first one. And that would make me happy.
They've came out and they've clearly had like a marketing team sat with the developers and go, you know, this game feature will hit this market very well. We feel that, you know,
upgrades, we'll get this, we'll do this.
leaderboards,
asynchronous multiplayer, you know, all these things that just aren't necessary.
Yeah. You know, we feel open world games are very popular right now. We feel it hit the mainstream market very well. If we launch around sort of this time scale, you know, we don't have much competition at the time. You know, it's a risky IP, but we feel as it's matching a lot of these proven game elements, we feel it will sell very well and it'll hit this market very well.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Mirror's Edge Catalyst as opposed to Portal 2?
Well, see, Portal 2 took the wrong thing around with it. I really like Portal for its puzzles, and the comedy was a nice icing on the cake. Whereas Portal 2 went, hey, everyone loved the comedy, and then sort of focused on that, and the puzzles sort of focused the other way. Whereas Mirror's Edge went, hey, everyone loved the parkour, let's bundle other shit on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, Portal 2 didn't overcomplicate itself that much. I mean, it did a bit, but Mirror's Edge Catalyst...
Imagine if, like, Mirror's Edge Catalyst, to get that comparison right, Mirror's Edge Catalyst would have to have... Oh, no, sorry, Portal 2 would have had to have a cake joke every 5 minutes. Plus, it would have also been open world. Plus, it would have had car driving sections, and it would have given you guns with aliens to shoot.
And also, you would have had to upgrade your Portal gun in an XP screen.
Yeah, because Mirror's Edge is a game about running. Mirror's Edge was a game about running and jumping off things, and that was pretty much it. And that's all you had to do. You had to run and jump, and that was it. You had to run and jump, and maybe occasionally slide down the pole, and that was what you do. And in this one, it's like, oh yeah, collect the Like, each area's got, like, 7 different sets of collectibles.
Oh, the chips and the weird floaty orb things.
Weird floaty orbs, there's chips, there's designs, there's the bags, there's...
security things, there's the billboards.
Security things, there's billboards, there's also the audio... There's just so many
logs.
things that are just
Oreos.
scattered.
Oreo.
The audio, it's audio logs.
I'd collect the Oreos.
Just collect Oreos. But there's so many things.
If we're
to
hungry, go
collect.
out and pick us up some Oreos. There's 7 dots around in each area of the city.
Well, right. Let's go through it from like the actual basis. The parkour has errors and problems with it. Like wall running. In the previous game, you wall run in an arc. So when you started the wall run and you'd go up a fair bit and then you'd come down because that's
And it
how
feels
you
lovely. It
have the
feels
wall run. In
just
this,
lovely.
you go up about a foot and then go beep, 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 and just go along at that level for a short while and then just drop off. It just stops.
It's
So you don't actually
simplified.
get that nice arc, so you don't have to kind of go, everything's just been simplified just that little bit.
Everything's
And it's all just
the
been-
running's faster. It's easier to get up a thing. It's you know when you fuck up like by not landing correctly, it's a lot less punishing.
Yeah.
You can just, they've
And you've
taken
got
all
that
the
warp
timing away
fucking-
from the landing roll. The landing roll
Yeah.
has no timing skill at all now. You just hold down LT the moment you start dropping and you
Yes,
will
you just
always
go,
drop.
that'll be fine.
Whereas when I played Mirror's Edge, and I
Yeah,
played
yeah,
both
right.
of these for the first time recently, like the first few times, I actually cocked up, I didn't get the timing right, but then I started figuring out how to get the timings for the roll better, and I started doing things a lot better, and I looked a lot more badass while doing it. Because
Yeah.
the game was rewarding me for practicing, because I messed up a few times. So Catalyst, I'm not sure I failed any point during the whole beta when I was playing. I think I just did it all first time, pretty much.
I failed a lot because I got stuck in the floor quite a lot. Because I was
Yeah.
like, hey, can I go this way? Fall through an invisible thing. Guess
Yeah.
not. Hey, can I go this way? Invisible wall. Oh, guess not.
I go,
I didn't
climb?
get that so much. I did have the problem that every single time there was any form of cutscene, VSync turned itself off, refused to turn on until I had to restart the game. That was annoying.
My game just didn't run. Just tanked. Just absolutely tanked. It ran like
It actually
Everything pretty much crashed after
it ran
the first
very
opening
actually
areas for me.
surprisingly well for me, oddly, but it's
that
still
just means it's built for some cards and not others.
Well, it's
which
weird
is
'cause-
always fun.
the game ran kind of fine, but then in the cutscenes it like dropped to 15.
Chop scenes are like
Yeah, the cutscenes
terrible,
are
yeah.
awful. Yeah.
I mean,
I-
the optimization will come in later, but the game is like a month. Well, they delayed it a bit, so it's only like 6 weeks away.
Yeah, I mean,
It feels like there's a lot of work to do in 6 weeks.
it will be optimized.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not going to change any of the gameplay. They won't change any of the gameplay.
They won't change any of the gameplay, but it's just it's all been simplified and it's like before. If you jumped and did the quick turn, you'd fall on your ass
Okay.
because you just span around in midair. In this, if you jump and quick turn, you just land backwards.
Yeah, I can't give the middle finger to people behind me anymore, and that makes me very sad.
You can't do that. There's that fucking annoying shift button which just speeds you up immediately. To
Oh,
like
the
full
quick
speed. 'Cause
dodge.
Before there was like sort of like the you started running and then it took about 10-15 seconds before you were max speed. And it took quite a while to get up to max speed, and you would gradually get faster and faster and faster. And now there's sort of like, you have that initial burst of acceleration, and then if you go over 10-15 seconds, you get a boost at the end. So it feels, but that boost feels up faster if you do jump crawls all the way through the air, which means all the speedruns look stupid. If you try and watch any replays, everybody's just jumping and crouching in midair and landing and jump and crouch and shift, and it's all just jarring and there's no flow to it. To go faster, you lose all the flow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just there, but that's sort of a really fast shift that gets you up to pretty much, I think it's max speed until that bar starts charging. So you push a button, you max speed, there's no momentum. This is what fucked Sonic the Hedgehog over when he went 3D. So he lost the concept of momentum.
The
He just
funny
went
thing
a
is,
bit fast.
the game still has basic concepts of momentum, but for some reason they just made it so that it's not necessary. It's like, oh, we put this
Yeah.
feature in, but here's a bypass.
Yeah.
It's like
It's also really annoying how small a slope has to be if you have to only slide down it.
Oh,
There's some
yeah.
very short slopes that you just start sliding down and you're like, clearly a fucking baby can walk
Yeah, you
up this
start
slope.
walking up something and you slide backwards. What? I
Yeah.
have rubber shoes. They can grip. What?
Also, this is the one that infuriates me. I like to go with runner mode off. I don't like runner mode on because that is
fuck
like,
runner
go
mode.
here, and it only tells where to go. If you turn it off in this, it turns off where the goal is.
Yep.
You can't see where the fuck you're supposed to go. There's no blip for it. So you've got to keep like aiming and going, is it there, is it there, is it there? It's a lot harder to find out where you're supposed to be going.
One
Well
of the
done,
things-
whoever thought that was a good
One of the
fucking
things
idea.
I really hated was that there are. It's a very small thing, but it's the fact there are like shoe marks on walls.
Yeah, you've turned the runner mode off because I don't want to know the places that it's supposed to be going, and there's wall marks for wall running, which do go in the up. Piss me off as well. but there's warlocks, and then there's warlocks and walls you can scramble up or are supposed to scramble up. So there's a lot of clues of go this way. It feels very handholdy.
But that's not what necessarily annoys me. It's not the handholdiness. It's like from a story perspective. What I loved about Mirror's Edge 1 was when you were running across all these areas, it felt like you weren't supposed to be there. They're not designed for that. You're abusing the building, right?
Yep.
And in this, it's like, oh, a billion people have been through here before, and...
Well, that's it. Everybody's sitting around. Any person you interact with is already there waiting.
Yeah.
So all the people that give you missions and stuff are just standing there, doing nothing. There's that woman right at the start who's like just standing there, like, no, you can't do me yet. And then you go to a few missions, she's like, oh, runner, I've got a job for you. So you do a job, and she's still there.
Yeah.
And everyone's just still there, and like running between two people. They're always just standing around. So it felt like it was just a lot of static people. There were no other runners just running around the place.
There was that mission. There was that mission in the beta where you had to go into a building, and that felt like Mirror's Edge 1. And it was a structured linear level where you were running up, but.
Yeah, that was probably the best actual story bit, but then it was like, hey, here's some people, and then I fell through the floor, and things just went wrong in that mission. I kept kind of... Because I'm playing really fast, because I'm kind of used to Mirror's Edge, and then I keep fucking turning this up, although I had to play on a fucking controller, because you can't rebind the key, so I couldn't play it the proper way. Max, play the proper way of playing Mirror's Edge, please!
Putting jump on left mouse button, and putting quick turn on right mouse button.
That is the way you play Mirror's Edge. But you can't bind that.
Well, it's nice as well.
So jump is spacebar. Spacebar's the worst button because it's got the most lag to it. Spacebar is a button because it's so big. You actually struggle to push it exactly right. It's always a button that's quite difficult. Never bind a jump button to space if it's a precision platformer. That's the rule. That's how you finish end, by the way.
I never used quick turn in Catalyst because it's middle mouse, and my middle mouse button's very it's quite. You have to put a lot of pressure on it, so it wasn't quick to do. So I hated it.
I'd end up playing it with a controller because there's just so many tiny things. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's so many tiny little things wrong. Some major things like the fucking wall running, but so many tiny things wrong at the end of it. You're like, this just isn't fun. I'm just not. The world design, like as soon as you get into the world, they start going to these like back areas and stuff. Like I don't like the city. But going in these back, dingy, dark areas, I'm like, you just don't get the fucking Mirror's Edge thing at all. Like, instead of coming out into a beautiful world, you came out to rain and a guy impressive you going, look at the plot, bad guys, we're bad guys, we're plot. And then it's just miserability. The city is, like, super futuristic, but nothing else is. I find that very weird. That the city is just like so, hey, look at it's giant spires with big turbines in it. Because like before it was like, here's a really pristine city that's like a few years away.
It looks like it's designed by J.J. Abrams.
Oh, that's exactly what I call it in the video. It's J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. It's the Federation world that he's got there. But so it's a much more futuristic city. So it's not a reboot. It's a reboot, not a prequel. Like they were constantly saying, oh, it's not a reboot, but it's totally a reboot after one fucking game.
I mean, John,
you're now stuck with this one forever.
John, you playing it for sort of the first time together? Because I mean, you did this with Assassin's Creed as well, and I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
So watching it, like, did you? I don't know. Do you? How much do you agree? Basically, having played them for the first time, both about the same amount of time.
With just respect to the city aesthetic.
Well, yeah, everything, yeah.
The thing is, like, I conceptually and academically understand why the original is definitely the superior game. Which is, I repeatedly failed at the original, and the game made me bloody learn its rules. And I kind of felt it was like a couple of interesting counterpoints, I think, were Dark Souls and Super Mario 64. Because Super Mario 64 and Mirror's Edge strike me as a very nice matching pair, which is Super Mario 64, you get given all of your moves straight away. There's no like move tutors or anything. You're just given everything. There's a few signs that tell you what some of the basic moves are, but basically you just have to figure out how to link the moves together. And eventually you just have to be able to master doing a triple jump into a wall jump, into diving for a ledge to cross a big ravine. And the game never tells you. You just have to figure it out, otherwise you're not going to be able to get far into the game. I think Mirror's Edge 1 works like that just fine, as opposed to Dark Souls, which I think kind of is difficult but in a different way, where I think it's just badly contextualized and not desperately well tutorialized. So I think it's Super Mario 64 and Mirror's Edge make an interesting kind of pair of games, whereas Mirror's Edge Catalyst, I basically I never got good at it in the slightest, because like when I was originally just trying to figure it out, I thought, okay, so if I want to get up, then just hold forward roughly towards the wall and hammer at LB, which is the up button if you're on a controller, and then you just end up at the top, and you always do. The game doesn't punish you or, force you down or force you to do it right or be precise or anything. It's very accessible. And I think to someone who's never played the original Mirror's Edge, it could be very, very fun. but I think it's got no replayability and no longevity and other bad
But it's
things.
got so many collectibles. How does it not have replayability or longevity? It's an
I've
open world game. They
got a
default
high
them.
threshold for collecting things, because I actually kept enjoying collecting stuff in Assassin's Creed, even after Assassin's Creed started getting really crammed full of it. I really liked Syndicate, and Syndicate has a lot of stuff just sitting around.
Yeah, but
to
there's a
collect.
but the thing is, the difference between like Assassin's Creed and Mirror's Edge is that like to get a collectible in Mirror's Edge, you have to stop.
Yeah.
You shouldn't like
They push
stopping.
a button on a thing.
Yeah, stopping in Mirror's Edge isn't really a thing. Like, it's a game about how it flows. And in Assassin's Creed, it is a lot of stopping, and it's kind of stealthy. A lot, of,
What does it even add to the open world? Is the big question. Like, because
Nothing.
I said it'll be interesting because what you do is you get this big, there's a small sort of open world, but you can go through all the buildings and stuff. There's lots of quick paths through the buildings. But then as they sort of start finding your runs, they start closing them off. So you have to keep like you'll be running to a door that you use loads of times to escape, and then it'll be barred off, and you've got to go find another one. And I thought that would be a nice how you would progress the game, make it harder and harder, and force everyone to find new things and take longer ways around stuff.
I don't think I put as many hours into. I don't think I put as many hours into it as you do. But like one of the things that I always find in games is I do actually like a game where I feel like there is a sense of I understand physical space and how it connects, because then I get taken out of the experience. That's one of the things I really liked about Mass Effect 1 that was taken out of Mass Effect 2 and 3 is you no longer, when you wanted to go into your ship, you didn't have to go to the airlock and then go through decontamination, and then you were by the airlock in your ship, and then you had to run over to your command station, which you had to do in Mass Effect 1. And I loved that, because it meant you understood where your ship was docked and how you got in and out of your ship. And if you wanted to go ashore, you had to go to the bloody airlock to go out, and you had to come back in through the airlock. Mass Effect 2 and 3 you just teleported. You just went to the star map, so if you wanted to go, you just teleported and you were on the ground there, your shuttle had just dropped you off. But you never had to go down to the shuttle to get in the shuttle or anything, and that really annoyed me. So I quite liked the idea that, like, it did bug me a little bit in in Mirror's Edge, the first one, that, like, when you finish a level and you get your little anime cutscene, then you just did a new level, but you don't really understand how the levels interact with each other. Like, at the end of the second level, where you've just done you're on the run from the police, because you've just done you run into Kate and then you escape from the building. Then you go underground and you go to your base, wherever that is, because it never really tells you where in the city your base is. Then at the beginning of the third level of the original Mirror's Edge, you then just kind of pop up and you're in this kind of big storm drain thing, and the police find you within about 10 seconds, and all of a sudden there's helicopters and snipers shooting. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah,
How did they find me? I literally went and hid my base, and now I'm in a different bit of the city, I think, and now there's helicopters and snipers on top of me, but I don't understand where I am. Am I right next to that original building? Because I'm looking around and I can't see it anywhere. And it bugged me because I didn't understand how much time or space had passed between the second and the third mission.
I mean, Catalyst
and that
fixes
took me out of it a bit.
But the problem with Catalyst I had is that the map isn't... It's not like what Dan suggested. Every major level is its own... Like, it's a building you can't get into normally. Or it's it's all these areas you can't normally access. So all the map serves as is a level select screen with a lot of faff.
Yeah.
It's not like GTA where all the missions take place within this crafted world. Very little takes place just normal missions. Like going into that building is like that's not an area you can access normally.
Yeah.
Like that stuff like that. It just seems they added it because. Not because it adds anything, it adds faff. It adds, running back and forth along that same fucking bridge back to the train station so many times. Because, like, it has these big roads and, like, 3 bridges to cross across these big roads. So you end up travelling those same routes 50 fucking billion times. And you get really boring because there's nothing interesting to do there. And it's just...
I wish I knew why Faith was so scared of the road. Like, why occasionally, like, given the roads appear to be kind of pristine and everything's clean, just occasionally, could you not just go down?
In Mirror's Edge 1,
that's where the baddies are. Like, you actually went on the road a fair bit in a Mirror's Edge. You actually could start quite low in missions.
Yeah, there's someone you start on the floor, isn't there? And there's others where you get to the floor. And there's, I think, is it the second... Was it the first? I can't remember which one. The one where you... go into the building, you escape, you slide down, you go through the train tunnels. Yeah, that one, you end up on the floor, and that's the best level.
Oh, the storm
that's not
drains.
the best level. I feel like I fucking love the original Mirror's Edge. I went back and played it, and I was like, maybe I'm just being an idiot. And I played it, I'm like, oh no, everything.
I did that as well. I thought, I'm remembering it wrong. And no.
Yeah.
No, that definitely was like the moment where I really kind of enjoyed Mirror's Edge, where we're going down the first storm drain, where it's like you actually have to wall run up, but then take into account the arc going down, and then you have to jump at the end. You have to pick the right moment to jump to get the final bit of distance to get you onto the platform, otherwise you fall on splat. And it really makes you bloody understand how the physics works, and it makes you get the timings right, otherwise you don't go on.
This reminds me, in Catalyst, right, you know, fall damage, you know, based on what, you know, how long a long fall is before you have to roll. That's not determined by the height you fall, that's determined by the distance from where you left.
Yes. So if you jump forwards, it's a short distance.
Yeah.
I found this out because I used this to get into a lot of hidden places that were down below, because I could actually get pretty close to the floor. I got one of the train tracks in the beta. Because when you get that sort of second area unlocks, if there's like, as you go around, there's a corner there. If you drop down, there's a few of those little vents, and you can sort of, after you drop down, you get flung off them. But if you bounce from one, it will bounce to the other, and then you'll bounce onto a bit of terrain you're not supposed to be to, and from there you can sort of get to many other parts of the map that you're not supposed to, and every now and then you'll fall through the floor, which again takes the freedom away. Because I really want that sort of...
It's a free one in-game, but you can only go where we structuredly told you to.
Yeah, it also kind of locks you out forever, because there's no way to get back up.
I mean, at least with, like, Mirror's Edge 1, it felt natural that you couldn't access certain areas, because you physically couldn't get there. It wasn't like it was an invisible wall or anything, it was that.
Yeah.
And also, you're on a time trial, and you need to get away from the fucking people shooting you, because you're going to die, and you can't fight them, because you're not a karate master like you are on Catalyst for some reason.
Yeah. For some reason, you're just some sort of, you're the best, and you're a ninja, and you've been in prison for 50 years, or whatever it was. I just like how overtly evil the baddies were as well. I like Mirror's Edge, where it shows this beautiful city, and then, you know, takes the time to go, hey, maybe these guys are actually right, and this is being run by dickholes.
It was 3 months, actually, which I found remarkable. She was sentenced to 3 months and then had an extra 9 months added on for bad behaviour while she was in there, with the implication being that she was set up to have. And it's like, this is a group of people who are set up as the bad guys, who specifically have been sending men with shotguns to shoot me in the face throughout Mirror's Edge 1. Every time I show my face above ground, bloody helicopter gunships have been deployed to gun me down. And when they finally got to me, they gave me 3 months in prison.
Yes.
If Faith had known that, she should have just surrendered. Like, the moment the men were like, screw it, this isn't worth my trouble. I'll take my 3 months in prison in my lovely little cell with my free advertising.
The thing I super don't understand, Black Mirror one. The thing I super don't understand about the whole world of this new Mirror's Edge is the amount of fucking drones everywhere. Because there's drones everywhere. That's like their new thing. Oh, drones. Like, why the fuck do you need someone to run rooftop to rooftop? But you could just take a drone off the grid and just fly that where it needs to go. If that technology is so ridiculously available, there are specific drone lanes. Like, surely that would be, hey, go here. Okay, good.
Yeah, and there's that bit like, oh, I need to get this vial across someone. And they're both on the roofs, and it's like,
yeah,
you could have. It's like I don't know, less than half a mile.
Yeah,
and
not even. This isn't even a thing that needs a runner. This thing. This is just, what is this?
Yeah, just go see them.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Or hire like an actual courier. A legal
I love
courier.
fucking Poppin as well. I think that's the worst thing about it being open world. Is the amount of time I fucking saw Poppin during that thing, although it wasn't running at all well for me.
I'll pop you in.
Oh, that's a weird thing to say. But yeah. But yeah, the textures look nowhere near as good as the old as Mirror's Edge's original. Mirror's Edge, I mean, looks fantastic. Still looks fantastic.
It really does.
And it's got that beautiful magic to it of actually being like subtle and well built, and everything's all like, because there's no day-night cycle. Like, is there a day-night cycle? Because the day-night cycle seems to go in Mirror's Edge Catalyst from like early morning, bit later in the morning, some actual morning. Okay, it's early morning again. That's it. Like, I never saw night or anything like noon. It's just sort of like, here's some early morning.
In all fairness, the original Mirror's Edge had a bit of bullshit time that made no sense as well. I specifically noticed the beginning of the second level. It tells you it's 5:20 in the morning, but the shadows are really shallow and the sun's already quite high up in the sky.
Yes.
Meaning that wherever this city is, it's either in the Arctic or Antarctic Circle, because there's literally nowhere else on Earth it can
That's
be.
why it's so white. It's all just snow.
Yep, precisely. It's ice. It's a city of ice. That's the only explanation, because there's no way, literally, there's nowhere on Earth where the sun could be that high at 5:20 in the morning, unless it's summer in the Arctic or winter in the Antarctic.
Yeah. There used to be a pacifist run that you could do in the original Mirror's Edge that you can't do anymore. So you should be able to just run through and be like, hey, let's not attack anyone or even bap anyone, and we'll just do it completely the best we
Yeah,
can. And now the tutorial forces you to.
The original Mirror's Edge, it was very much sort of like kind of Deus Ex-y, where it gave you the option to do all the combat stuff you wanted to, but you could just completely bypass it.
Yep.
Like, the combat is the obvious option, but if you can get around them quite. It's not like you have to faff to get around them. It's designed so you can. But in this, it seems very like there's all those, and there's somewhat it does let you do the objective if you haven't beaten everyone up, but you physically just can't do the cutscene without beating them up. So once again, it's basically forced.
Yep. It's not great, and it's got an upgrade system we haven't mentioned yet, which is just dumb.
Oh yeah,
the
the grappling hook.
I don't even want to think about how that grappling hook works. I never want to think about it.
That's how magnets work. You fire the magnet beam, and then you magnet over the cliff, and you magnet over to the other side with your magnet swing.
Have either of you played Dying Light?
Yeah.
No, but everyone tells me I should do.
What did you think about Dying Light, Dan?
Well, I don't like it because all the good free-running moves are locked behind an upgrade screen.
They are. Now, Dying Light it feels like what Mirror's Edge Catalyst is kind of trying to be. Dying Light was basically... But unlike Mirror's Edge, it wasn't where Mirror's Edge is a free-running game trying to be a combat game. Dying Light was a combat game trying to be a free-running game.
Yeah.
So, at least some of the transitional things made some sense because the previous games did the similar things and added these uses. And I quite liked Dying Light in a lot of ways because it was made to be what it was. You know, the upgrade system made some sense because unlike Mirror's Edge, where it's very obvious, you know, like there's that area where you need the grappling hook to get across, for example. Or there's that other area where you need to telephone. It's not that linear in the sense of, oh, you need this specific upgrade to get to this specific area. It was very much like, oh, no, this specific upgrade is A, going to help you get to places easier, and also, you know, help you get to a lot of places which you wouldn't otherwise get to. And it was designed quite nicely, and it felt good, and the free running was very oversimplified, but fine, it's more about the combat. You know, and I could deal with that, but Mirror's Edge, it's not. I
think one of the big differences, though, is that when Mirror's Edge came out, Mirror's Edge defined an entire genre of parkour. It was actually one of the first games to do it properly, and it was very unique and special, and a lot of us hold it very close to our hearts because it did such a good job of it, and now this is just like... Before, that was enough. That was enough to hold like an entire new thing on. Just having first-person parkour, that was it. That's all they needed. But now... They seem to be scared that that's not enough, and so they've jammed all this other crap in. And they've jammed in better combat because...
I don't think Mirror's Edge 1 sold hugely well, did it?
It didn't really, I don't think. I think it's one of those games that sort of everyone sort of knew, but it dropped in price very quickly because it was very short, and people don't tend to like paying money for short experiences.
No.
If they're films or pornography.
I love 5-hour games.
I truly thought you were about to say that I love pornography.
I also
love paying for pornography. It's great.
No, legitimately though, I love 5-hour games because I don't have the unless a game is like interesting enough or is like I just don't have the attention span to spend like 30 hours playing a single game.
I just don't have the time. I mean, I'm getting my way through Dark Souls because I'm super enjoying it. But like a lot of people are like talking about the ending and then finishing it. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, dude, I'm playing this like a week before launch, and I'm only like halfway through.
Yeah, like
as far as I've got, I don't have the time.
But that's it. Like there's so many games that come out that just expect 30 hours of your time, and it's like this is what annoys me about the new Hitman, especially because it expects so much of your time just coming back to it every fucking month.
Oh my god, do we have to talk about new Hitman?
We do, yeah.
Should we get this episode and talk about new Hitman?
They fixed it.
What do you mean they fixed it?
The thing where you get kicked out if your connection drops is gone. Banished.
Oh my god, really?
Dead.
Well,
if your connection drops, the game pauses, and you can simply wait, and you can just try and reconnect over and over, and then you don't get kicked out. You can
It's still a problem.
Oh my god, my bitching worked!
I mean, it still shouldn't fucking pause the game if you... But it's still better than it kicking you fucking
much
off.
better than it was, and it's just got its new level, Sapiens, which I think is the best Hitman level that's ever existed.
I would go back to it, but I'm now like, I've got Dark Souls to play, and I've got VR to play, and I've got Ratchet and Clank to play.
Well, this is it, isn't it? Like, there's so many games come out, and they expect so much of your time.
Yeah.
And especially, I think, us working on the games industry, it's even more annoying, because... You know,
I mean, Hitman gets around that nicely because it's about 10 hours per episode, just scattered around month per month. Actually, I put way more into. I put about 20 hours into Paris and the beta.
I like to point out at the moment I'd call it like a 2-hour game because that's how long it took me to finish the other level.
That's interesting. I spent about 11 hours in that single level.
Yeah,
Really?
I did 20 hours in Paris. I've put another 10 into Sapienza since it came out yesterday, and I'm not even close to done yet. I've got there's easily another 10 hours in there yet.
See, I kind of walked in, I did the missions, and then I walked out and went, well, that's that done, bye.
But then you don't get to do any sniping, so you haven't unlocked any of the sniper rifles, for example.
I don't like sniping, I like doing everything passive, as you can tell from my Mirror's Edge pitch. I like going in there and working out the way of killing the guy, make it look like an accident, and then leave.
There's so many good ways to do that.
Yeah, but then you unlock like the really good poisons and stuff if you get like the mastery level.
But I did it. I've done it. I've done the thing. I want to move on to a new thing. That's the
fair.
sort of person I am now. So
But
for
the joy of
me,
blood money, which is always regarded as the best one, was there's many different ways to do one thing. And this
yeah,
is
but that
exactly
just
the
meant
same.
you got more ways of working it out. I played Blood Money through, finished it, and then was like, because that's what I do. I Groundhog Day. I play it as many times until I find it. Like I did for the video where it starts with meow every time I think I do a new turn. Is I play it and then I give up and then I play it and then I die and then I play it again and then I ruin it and then I keep going until I learn it and then I do it at the right time and that takes about 2 hours a level.
Yeah, and you're not
That's how I
interested. You're
play
not
it.
interested in doing all the different ways of killing.
I am not. Even
You just want to move on to
it.
another level and figure it out.
I'm done with that. That's
What
what I really
I
enjoyed
did
Ratchet and
realise-
Clank. Ratchet and Clank is the best fucking game to come out for PS4. It's 10 hours long, and it's done. When you're done, you can play it again. You unlock new weapons, and I did play it a little bit more, so I can get my Rhino to level 10 just to watch the insanity that is. And then that was it. It was done, and I'm finished with it. It was for that 10 hours. It was an entirely new, constantly changing, wonderful game experience.
And the sales charts appear to agree with you. It sold
Oh my
very well
God.
indeed.
It sold exceptionally. It sold the new Ratchet and Clank sold 3 times what any of the previous entries sold
Wow.
in
Impressive.
the UK.
Impressive.
3 times in like the opening week sort of thing, just Blu-ray deal. What is super interesting about that is the film isn't out till this Friday.
Yeah.
So the film isn't like people going, "Oh, I've seen that film. I want to get the thing." This has actually come out before the film.
I wonder how much it's going to boost it when the film comes out.
Probably a fairly large amount.
But this is an interesting thing because obviously us working sort of in the games industry, it's less about because obviously, especially if you're younger, and a lot of people watching this are going to be younger. You know, games essentially, it's what can you justify buying that will entertain you for several hours, and it's a money to time ratio thing. And I think with us,
can I point out that Ratchet and Clank also sells for a smaller price tag? It's $29.99,
Which is
it's
perfect.
not a small
Good.
price tag.
but I think with us, it's more like a game is more because we get a lot of our stuff like through like press codes, and
Yeah.
obviously we
Yep.
can justify buying stuff because we sort of worked it, and we're more vying for the time. Like we're more vying for how good the game is and how the quality of the time we're playing it, as opposed to how much entertainment we get out of it over a long period
Well,
of time.
also things are allowed to be terrible. I sometimes will specifically pick up things I suspect might be terrible if I think they're going to be terrible in an entertaining
I
way.
did buy the
Yes.
entire Digital Homicide bundle,
You did, didn't you?
and I
You
did play it on a live
naughty
stream for 3
boy.
hours. Worst thing I've ever done. Worst thing I've ever... It was $2, Dan. It was $2, and frankly, for $2,
Worst thing I've done.
I mean, it was
Worst thing.
mildly entertaining.
I'm sitting on a copy of Mind Jack for the Xbox 360. I'm just waiting to
You're
play.
sitting
some
on
of
it.
I
Shitting on it is the
found
best
it in
thing
a
to
bargain bin like months
I
ago.
thought you would
I
have found it in a
just waited.
regular bin. Mind Jack's
It's a bin. Why did we go through the wrong bin by mistake? I found it in a bargain bin for a clear out of 360. I'm like, oh, I remember this. Yahtzee called it like one of the worst games ever made.
Oh, I did buy.
This.
I bought Devil's Third for the Wii U for the same reason.
Oh, nice.
I have to play
What else
that.
do I have? Oh, I've got Defiance on the Xbox 360, the game of that sci-fi series on the sci-fi channel
Yeah,
I never
I never
watched.
cared of either bits of that.
I imagine that a video game tie-in for a series that hasn't been that commercially successful has got to be pretty bloody dreadful. Also, I'm looking over my pile of games to see why is there in there I haven't actually played yet that looks utterly terrible. Oh, I played the game of The Golden Compass, the film adaptation that had the stupid title. I played the game of that.
But this is the thing.
Actually, I'll tell you what, I picked up very recently. I managed to finally track down a copy of Too Hot for Twitch. It's BMX XXX.
Oh yeah, that is banned on Twitch.
Oh my goodness.
That video will be coming soon. I'm so excited to play the game that killed Acclaim Entertainment off, and that's a fun story I'll be telling in the video. That's a good. That I'm excited to play.
But you
'cause
see,
that is...
this is the thing. A game can be shit, but entertainingly shit. And even like as even if not as a video, like much like watching The Room's a terrible movie, but you can watch it and enjoy it just because it's so shit, like awful.
Rise to Hell Retribution sits perfectly on that curve. It's so entertaining to watch because it's so
Genuinely
terrible.
awful.
You can watch it break in front of you. It's
Awful.
glorious.
No, there's a difference, right? There is genuinely bad, and it's entertaining. Right to Hell is entertaining for a good half an hour. Where you're like, oh my god, this is so terrible. But then you actually start playing through it, and you're like, oh, just kill me now.
Oh, not for the player, but as YouTubers, for our audience, I think from an audience perspective, it's very fun to watch.
I've never
just
played a
so
shit
utterly.
game for more than about an hour and a half.
Aside from Citizen Hit and Run.
Apart from Citizen Run. Actually, no, because that's a pretty okay game. That's kind of okay game with a really shitty, fucking vicious final level. The apart from the game that's the next complete series, which is a terrible game.
Yeah,
I'm playing a terrible game. A terrible screaming nightmare of a game.
Because he's an idiot and he really likes to punish himself. Gets off to it.
I want to see what it's like to actually play through an entirely terrible game, but I want to see if I'm a broken shell behind all that.
You are.
Oh, I just saw I've got the game adaptation of Jumper sitting over there.
I have that.
Who remembers Jumper? The worst named film imaginable.
That was the one with...
starring Hayden Christensen, the guy who played Anakin Skywalker in episode 2 and 3, as a bloke who discovers he has the power to teleport very short distances, thus allowing him to impress women by being ever so slightly not where they're expecting him to be, but he shows off to too many women by being ever so slightly not where he's supposed to be, and thus the evil government that's actually made up of people who could be ever so slightly not where they're supposed to be comes to try and take him out. He has to go on the run, presumably by teleporting ever so small distances, but not that far because the rules of Jim
I thought he did become sort of a bank robber or something, but I can't remember very well.
Yeah, basically the teleportation power isn't like proper like long distances. It was really crappy short distances.
Someone mobbed a boat in at one point, apparently, as well.
But apparently, the people with that power have taken over the world and control the world from the shadows using their ability to teleport distances of about 8 to 10 feet. Because that's all you need to take over the world. Yeah. And I bought the game adaptation. And it's not even about the main character who's played by Hayden Christensen. It's about one of the sub-characters and what he got off to when he wasn't in the film.
Well, I've got that for PS2, I think.
Oh, I've got the Xbox 360 version. I can't wait to do that one day.
God, that means you've got like a rezzed up version of it.
And also, they just didn't. They called it Jumper. They just didn't check what jumper meant in various countries around the world, and didn't check that in Britain it just means a cardigan.
Yep. He didn't know.
Oh, like a jumper cable or something.
Yeah. We should do tiny little bits and then tidy this up.
Bits of news.
Hey, Amazon Prime are being dickholes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And not just for games, also films.
Basically,
films
to explain, Amazon are restricting certain products to Prime members only, such as, I think, Grand Theft Auto 5 and Metal Gear Solid 5 and a couple of movies and stuff.
I will point out this is only from the Amazon sales, so if it's actually a seller on Amazon, I believe even if it's like Amazon shipped and handled by Amazon, it doesn't count for that. So basically, Amazon just sort of prices
if it's fulfilled by Amazon, it's fine, but if it's sold by Amazon themselves, it can only
which is weird. That's like, you're not the only people who sell these things. You can't sell most of them for full price. So
and it's weird because I buy a lot of things. I generally, if I buy something from Amazon, I won't buy from a third-party seller. I'll always buy fulfilled by Amazon. So fulfilled by Amazon is no different to buying from Amazon from a practical standpoint. So
yep, because they're just as fast.
Yeah, and
that's the only really thing you do it for is the delivery, really.
Yeah,
price and delivery.
And that's it. Like
it could be a retention mechanism, not just an acquisition mechanism.
Yeah, but I'm having Top Gear, the new Top Gear series on.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Prime. Well, not the new one that starts in a week or so, but the actual.
Rather than trying to persuade people to buy games, it's people who have already got Prime being persuaded to keep.
Yeah, but that's not going to make me keep Prime, though. I keep Prime because I want the shipping. It makes no difference to me.
I don't have Prime. I'm going to get Prime when Clarkson's show turns up.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I pay for Prime. It's like what, $80 a year, and you get the fast shipping. You get the Amazon Prime instant review. You get the music shit. You get drive space, and you get a load of shit for your money.
And you can share it between multiple people at the same address.
Yeah. So
you need one account for a household.
For me as well, I like it just for the shipping. But I'm not going to stay with Amazon Prime, just because I can fucking buy GTA on a disc.
Yeah.
What?
You say this, the other places we can buy it are very quickly going extinct.
Well, no, not on Amazon, though.
We're running out of other places.
Well, no, but this is the thing, though. Look, GTA 5 on PS4. The actual one it defaults to is sold by Fox Electric and fulfilled by Amazon, which wouldn't apply to this Prime thing.
Nope.
There are 35 sellers on Amazon selling GTA 5. A lot of them are Prime. Are through Amazon. Amazon's own one, exclusively for Prime members, is £40, while 2 through Fox Electric and ME Games, which are fulfilled by Amazon, so have the exact same shipping, are cheaper and are not only for Prime members. So why?
I think they're just testing it. This is Amazon. They like testing things.
It's such a weird thing,
they've been asked for comment. They've refused to comment on it. Suggests that they're just testing it, and they are ready to roll it back if it doesn't work.
It's such a weird.
I thought they've rolled it back and then rolled it back the other way again.
They've done it twice now.
Shipping a storm over there.
Which normally would probably mean that they're A/B testing, and whoever wrote that report probably was just put into a different test group between visits and just assumed there'd been a change in policy when they were just put into a different test group by some form of like testing.
But it's kind of like going into an actual shop, right, and seeing like 4 copies of GTA 5 on the shelf, and you look at them, and one's £40, and the other 3 are £35. So you
this
take
is
them
a confusing shop.
Yeah, and you take them up and you go.
I'd be suspicious of the banana that costs 30 pence less than the others.
Well,
I'd probably buy the more expensive banana.
So you take them.
That's corporate. That's corporate. You're buying into the corporate name.
Yeah, but this is it. You take them up and you say to the clerk, why is this one £40, the other £35? You go, well, the £40 one is, as you can see on the back, on the plastic, it actually has an brand sticker on, which when you take the cellophane off, it's gone anyway. And the others actually have a different sticker on. And also, you can only buy the £40 one if you're part of our exclusive loyalty card members, which costs £80 a year. And anyone who that happened to is going to go, so why the fuck wouldn't I just buy the £35 one? Because it makes literally no difference.
Yep.
I'd buy the more expensive banana.
No.
You are that person. Any other news before we wrap this thing up?
Yes, tomorrow on the North American Wii U shop, a rare example of something good happening to the Wii U, Xenoblade Chronicles. From the original Wii is coming out on the Wii U shop for $20, and if you've never played Xenoblade Chronicles, you should bloody pick that up for $20.
That's good. It's really expensive. It's really hard to get, like the Wii version on disc. It's like really expensive.
Yeah, it's very hard to get. Xenoblade Chronicles is one of the best in the series. It's a fantastic, fantastic game. If you've never played it, you should definitely pick that up. That's brilliant value for $20.
I've never even.
Another bit of news as well: Uncharted 4 being sold in CEX. A bunch of stolen.
It's on Xenoblade Chronicles on the DS.
Yeah, they ported it to the DS recently too. Yeah.
Oh, good. That's another thing the Wii U doesn't have. Sorry, it's not as long list of things.
Shulk in Smash Brothers. That's where he comes from.
That's one of the people who isn't too late.
Anyway,
players.
Anything else? Because we're hitting about 2 hours now.
There's a lot of pictures of just a red sword in some grass, and then some anime people looking angsty.
Yeah,
it's really good. All right.
I really hated Xenoblade.
It's got one of the best stories in all of gaming. Seriously, it's got an amazing story. Five Nights at Freddy's probably, almost certainly, has a virtual reality game coming.
Awful. Well, actually, that could
work. My pants already.
Fully enough, that could work in VR because you're in one room.
Well, they've teased that they are they've teased the name Sister Location. But, like, if that's not a bloody VR game, I'll be amazed because that's the logical, obvious place that series
Six Nights
goes.
at Susie's is going to be that
after 4 games and one spin-off in less than 2 years.
Yeah, I totally, that would really work really well in VR. It's not something I'd want to play, but that would actually work, like, practically.
Yeah. Quite frankly, I'm amazed that they haven't already just taken the existing ones, or rather the main entries into the franchise.
They need to be proper 3D.
Just redone them in VR and just sold them.
They'd need to remake them properly in 3D, so they need to remake them from scratch, so it wouldn't be worth it, really. Anything else?
That's our license to print money. I'd be amazed if they didn't.
They were talking
about Fallout mods.
Yes, Fallout 4's got mods. It already did, but now it does more.
Official.
Inside the menu, so they can put them onto the consoles as long as they don't have, like, characters of Nintendo and stuff in them.
Yeah.
Which is nice, because it's going to introduce a whole new generation of people to modding, and then they might want to dig further into modding on PC
My favourite thing is that the top mod on the official thing is unofficial patch. Which is hilarious to me.
Yep.
I mean, that's always that's been the top mod in the Nexus for ages, but it's just funny. But I don't see why I'd use that over the Nexus though.
Because it's easier and it will be on consoles, so it's mostly for consoles.
Well, yeah, it's mainly for the console people.
Yeah, but
console.
Like I'd rather use Workshop. Either I'm going to use Nexus or Workshop.
It's like my first mods. That's what it is.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else?
Fine. It's nice that they get their first mods.
Babies, these are little things. You console people. No, I think it's everything. It's gaming was the thing this week.
Short show today because Dan wants to go and I want to go and John's dead.
I'm really tired.
Yeah.
I had a long day spending time with the Sonic Architect last
Actually, I
night.
did. I was up till 2 a.m. last bloody night because I was determined to get a video out about Hitman the day it launched.
This is
But
how
then its launch
dedicated
was
John
really
is to
staggered.
his craft.
He's dedicated, motherfucker.
It took bloody because like the Hitman.
Hey,
launch
there's a
was
video
really
on
weird.
John's channel about Hitman you should totally go watch.
Yeah.
But that's that. But actually, the thing I'm about to launch whenever we do end this bloody thing is actually Mirror's Edge. My first time ever playing the original Mirror's Edge.
So that'll be good.
Oh wait, no. There's another thing you should watch on John's channel that I can mention this week. Is you did an amazing thing with Fallout New Vegas that I really enjoyed, which was
Did you? Oh,
I
that's
really
nice.
enjoyed that.
I want to point out your thought is completely pointless because it's already been featured in every gaming website. So you're just a little fish.
Yeah, but maybe I'm a big pond.
Yeah, you'd be amazed
sense.
how few subscribers being on that many gaming websites.
I did notice it didn't.
It's almost as if real journalism doesn't exist anymore.
I know it's.
But
It gets you a massive spike of views,
shit, that was
but
like
not
what I
many
talk about.
subs.
Oh god.
That was like what I talk about. Yeah, because you should go watch it because he's basically made one of those choose your own adventures, but for like all of Fallout New Vegas, and it's amazing.
Yes.
Well,
It's
Act
so
1 of
fun.
Fallout New Vegas.
That's still
Okay.
pretty fun though.
Yeah.
So are we
It's a
done?
good
Is
act.
that?
No, we're not done because there's one last thing I want to mention on the note of gaming journalism. Have you seen the Ashes of Singularity fuck up? I think it's GameSpot.
No.
So apparently a few weeks ago, somebody who works for GameSpot was like, "Oh, this reviewer hates me. This reviewer doesn't like me." So who was assigned to do Ashes of the Singularity? This was the CEO of Stardock who make Ashes of the Singularity. And he went, "Could you just make sure this is the guy who doesn't review my game because I think there's some bad blood there." I can't remember what the reason was, but there's bad blood there. GameSpot never responded, and then the review that GameSpot released was by that guy, and it was a 4 out of 10. And it's such an outlier as well, because most people are saying it's like a 7 out of 10 to like an 8 or 9 out of 10. I think it's a pretty good game. I quite enjoy it. It's not a 4 out of 10. Only a moron would give it 4 out of 10. And it's sort of like now, fucking everyone's exploded into ethics in journalism, and then it's like, oh god, it's been such a car crash. I recommend go and read into it, because it's been hilarious.
That's
But also,
completely
it
fair,
basically shows... Because when people are like, oh, a professional journalist can put these things aside, I fucking can't. No, that doesn't happen, which is why we need to have all of these things that keep people in check. That's the reason. But yeah,
Anyway.
it's a massive car wreck, and I totally recommend rubbernecking and having a look at it, because it's funny.
That sounds fun.
I hate
Yeah,
those.
a
They're
4 out of
always a
10.
mess.
But only do that on the internet. Never actually do that on actual roads because it causes traffic jams behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
kind of
inconsiderate to
dumb.
other road users.
Don't do that thing. Don't do that thing.
Don't slow down to look at crashes on the other side of the road.
Don't
It's
do that,
morbid
no.
and causes
No, ramp off
traffic
them!
jams.
Make more! Give people something to really fucking look at. And on that note, we'll end this here. Thank you
See,
very
this
much
is
for
what
watching.
happens when VR in real life starts meaning video games in real life gets blurred by VR.
Thank you very much for coming,
You're very welcome.
and
Thank you for
Goodbye
having
now.
me.
goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.